ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Xbox the Box, an Xbox podcast. My name is Potato, a.k.a. Lewis, a.k.a. Potatochief, and I'm with my good friend, Davey? Huh.
That's right.
Hi,
He's
Davey.
here. He's infiltrated the Xbox ecosystem. I'm finally in here. This is what in PS3 Trust was building up to. Is this moment for me, getting into the green.
In the green side. Yeah, so Alice has taken the week off for personal reasons. And, well, we're looking at the top 100 games of all time, according to critics. So I thought this would be a perfect time to have a PlayStation person in, because then we have contradicting views. Because, I mean, me and Davey get along quite well, but we do like totally different games, I think. If we got our own top 10s, I think it's going to be very interesting to bounce off each other,
There's definitely going to be, I think it's going to be a few things that probably we might end up having the same. I'm not sure. But there's definite points of contention.
Definitely.
Between, from what I know about you, Lewis, and the things that you adore.
Yeah.
Some of those ain't on my list. I'll tell you that now.
Yeah, I think it's because I come at it as a games design like thought process, and I think you like more like cinematic kind of games. I guess I don't know. I'm more like about mechanics and stuff like that, and you know. But I don't. It's because I did games design at university and stuff, so that's all I ever think about is like, you know. I don't know. It's weird. I'm hoping that our lists are going to be different. If we have the same list, it's going to be a bit boring. But I'm pretty sure that's not happening.
It's not going to happen. There's one on my list I know that you're going to detest. I know that immediately.
I think. I'm guessing. I already know what that's probably going to be, but we'll get to it when we get there.
Yeah. No spoilers.
So as we always do, we start off the podcast with what we've been playing. So as you're the guest, Davey, what have you been playing? Let us know.
Sure. Well, the last couple of weeks have been a little bit weird for me because I've mostly been playing through like old survival horror games. So I've been playing through like Dead Space 3, which we've been playing quite a lot recently for review. And the less said about that, the better, to be honest with you. It's pretty shocker. And apart from that, I've mostly been, I dusted off the Switch.
Wow.
And it wasn't just for Zelda. But I'm actually entering a Smash tournament for the first time in, 4 years. So I was like, right, well, I better plug the Switch back in, install all the updates, renew an online pass for a week.
Yeah.
And boom, I've been playing Smash.
Nice.
So all week, this week, it's just been Smash Bros. And just assorted games. I have been playing a little bit of a game. It came onto PlayStation Extra about 2 months ago, called Chia.
Right, yes. Yeah, I've seen Chia. Yeah. It looks very Breath of the Wild-esque, I would say. It's got a nice art style to it. It looks good. I've not played it, though, because, I just haven't got around to playing it. So
No. I tell you what, it's really good. It's pretty weird. It's built as like a love letter to the country where the devs were from. It's strange in that way because you'll be playing it. You've got loads of different tools at your disposal, so you can take over people and objects. So like you could take over like a dolphin in the water and swim around, or you could take over a fish or a bird and fly around, or all these different creatures you can do that with. And you got crazy physics, like you can take over a rock, and then if you throw the rock and then take over it, it gets like a massive speed boost. So you can use it to like zip around the island. Like it's really fun like that. But then every 5 minutes you've got a musical moment where it would just stop, all the characters break into song, and you've got a rhythm game built in.
I love it.
It's really random. It happens all the time, every single cutscene, and they're solid. Wow. And there's a trophy where you got to get 100%. The best I've got so far is 78.
Wow.
It's insane. It's like you're playing bloody Dragon Force on Guitar Hero. It's nuts. It's wild. Yeah, it's a pretty strange game, but I'm really enjoying it so far. And it's one of those things that I thought, I got a spare hour here or there.
Yeah.
I'll check it out. I'll dive in. And I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I am. It's really unique, but at the same time, it borrows loads from Zelda, from Mario Odyssey.
I was going to say, it sounds like Mario Odyssey mixed with Zelda. That's what I was about to say, yeah. It's like a hybrid of the two biggest games of 2017.
It is. It's exactly that. And I suppose that it doesn't do it as well as either of those games does, but it's enjoyable nonetheless.
It's very
And,
hard
you know,
to
even if
match
it is...
Sorry, I was just saying it's very hard to hit Nintendo standards, especially for an indie team. So that's understandable.
Yeah.
You know, to be fair.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, exactly right. But if you're in the PlayStation ecosystem and you, for some reason, haven't checked it out, I mean, I know this year's already been stacked full of games, but worth a go. Worth a go.
Definitely.
100%.
Definitely. I might try it out. Yeah, definitely. And I was also going to mention the fact that you were talking about Super Smash Bros. Tournament. It's funny because I do an Xbox podcast, you do a PlayStation podcast, but we both met who played Smash Brothers. That's how I met you in the first place. So, Davey used to win all the Smash Brothers tournaments. I used to come dead last, but you know, we're still hanging out. I was absolutely atrocious. I would just go to socialize and I would suck so bad at that game. And then I realized I was like getting into my 30s and I was the oldest one there. I'm like, yeah, I'm probably gonna stop coming now. It's a bit awkward.
Well, this is the thing. I probably should have learned. Like, I walked away from it, and the only reason that I'm back is because a mate from the Smash team, it's his 30th birthday. He's like, I'm bringing all the retired players who've left back for an invitational. And I was like, all right, yeah, sure, I'll go. Piss up after? Yeah. I'm in. Yeah. And that was enough to buy me.
Fair enough.
So
Didn't
that's
invite
all
me.
it takes, ladies and gentlemen.
Didn't invite me, I guess. I guess I go to count.
You're too good. Too good. We don't need that Captain Falcon come around and bopping everyone.
Oh man, yeah. Or
Just don't need
Villager.
that.
My Killager. Used to love being the kid.
that.
Oh, everyone was so pissed off at my Villager. That was the thing. It's like, do I want to win and piss people off and be Villager, or do I want to have fun? I'll be Captain Falcon. And so I usually end up being Captain Falcon because I just prefer to have fun and just stomp people with Captain Falcon. It's just way more fun. Oh man, love Smash Brothers so much. I haven't played it in a while though. It's been a long time since I played it. Pretty much ever since Sora was added, I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm not interested in Kingdom Hearts. I'm sorry, I got no interest. That's not in your top 10, is it? Good.
Definitely not. I played Kingdom Hearts. I won it actually. Funny enough, speaking of Smash, I won it at a Smash tournament. There was It was like a side event at a tournament that was called Hawk's Nest back in the day, and they had this side tournament where you had to play like, it's kind of like an Ultimate Gamer thing where you had like 5 different games you had to compete in, and they were random. Like totally random. Like one would be a light gun game, one was like a beat 'em up, it was all crazy stuff. And the first place prize was the Kingdom Hearts like collection where I had like all the games together. And I was like, well, I like Final Fantasy, I like Disney, I should like this.
Yeah.
And I put 3 hours into the first one and I just couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. No. Walked away. I gave the game away to a mate in the end. Like, just take it. I don't want it on the shelf. Take it from me. Yeah.
I do not. Yeah, I'm not
definitely
a fan.
Not for me.
If you're a fan of Kingdom Hearts, let us know in the comments below. But no, not my thing. So just Smash Brothers and Cheer then, really, is it? Yeah. It's funny you mentioned
Pretty
like
much.
playing retro games. That's what I've been doing as well. Because it's like basically, I went to see the Mario movie like last week or the week before, so I'll be like, I'm in the Mario mood. So I just played like Super Mario Bros. 3, Super Mario Bros. 1, Super Mario World, all that, basically all the classic ones. And then it's like, Tears of the Kingdom's coming out next week. I'm gonna play all the Legend of Zelda games now. So just go for all the Zelda games. So yeah, I've been a bit I've been on a bit of a nostalgia kick myself, to be honest. So, and then Tears of the Kingdom.
Quite nice to go back.
Yeah.
It is quite nice to go back, but. Do you know what? I know how much you adored Breath of the Wild.
I did, yeah.
So I've been looking forward to hearing what you think about Tears of the Kingdom, because I'm literally only about an hour in.
Right. Okay.
I had it arrive yesterday. I had an hour before I went on and played games with Spence and played Smash. So I'm super early. Let me know all about it.
Yeah, so I was going to say, like, that's the only other game I've been playing, and I've been playing a lot of it. I'm obsessed. So, like, I mean, we got a top 10 list coming up in a minute of our greatest games of all time. I honestly think this will probably be in the top 10 eventually, but I feel like it's way too soon for me to be putting it in my list. Because, have you seen IGN have put this down as the #1 Zelda game of all time already? And it's literally been out like 3 days. It's like,
what?
It's like
the #1 already.
Yeah, calm down. Let it boil over. But I mean, like, Breath of the Kingdom. Wow, I'm getting confused. Breath of the Wild is my favorite Zelda game. and I feel like Tears of the Kingdom just improves on it in every single way, like every way possible. Like better story, better gameplay, better mechanics. Like the world is like 2.5 times bigger, maybe 3 times bigger.
Oh.
There's like so much to do, and there's like lots of like. I'm surprised you actually bought it because I know you're not a fan of Breath of the King, Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm surprised you bought it. Really.
Well, I mean, the thing about it is that Breath of the Wild, I enjoyed it when I played it, but I never saw what everyone else did. I never really felt that the world was that much fun to be in. Like, I really missed kind of the classic Zelda style. I missed the dungeons. I missed like all that kind of stuff, right? And so I walked away from the experience enjoying it, but definitely not seeing it as like the game of the year that year, and certainly not seeing it, you know, in like the 96s on Metacritic, like nowhere near that for me. I really didn't enjoy that much. But seeing the clips on Twitter for Tears of the Kingdom and seeing the amount of creativity that you can do on this game,
So
I thought, wow, this is exactly what I wanted from Breath of the Wild. So hearing that you're saying it's an improvement on every level gets you mega hyped because I cannot wait to dive into this.
My dog's decided to get involved in the podcast. You all right there? Okay, just come. She's an old dog, so she's a bit loopy. There we go. Anyway,
It's coming to us all, mate. It's all coming our way. We're in our 30s now.
True.
We don't have long, and we're going to be the loopy dog, mate.
Yeah, that's very true. But yeah, Tears of the Kingdom, I've played it pretty much non-stop for like the last week. I'm obsessed. It's too much fun. And I haven't really felt like I've made any progress either. That's the scary thing. Like I just played it non-stop, and I'm like, I don't think I've done anything yet. I don't feel like I've made any progress at all. It's crazy.
Well, I wanted to ask you about this actually, because with Breath of the Wild, the thing that I didn't vibe with, and I suppose this is probably why the game didn't work for me too well, is all the little shrines that you went into on Breath of the Wild. I just didn't find them that rewarding. Like, you'd come out there and you'd have a weapon, and then that weapon would just break in a couple of swings, and I was like, oh, well, I really feel like I've made no real progress here, because I don't want to use these weapons that I've got, you know?
Right, yeah.
With the shrines and the way they kind of work on Tears of the Kingdom, can you kind of talk me through how that all works?
So, I mean, they're very similar to the shrines in Breath of the Wild, to be perfectly honest. You find the shrine, you go in there, and there's some kind of task, usually involving your powers, like building something or rewinding time or going through the roof or whatever like that. And it's just about finding ways to solve puzzles. I think I've broken most of the puzzles by doing it my own way, though, to be fair, which I find hilarious. And it is, like, you're meant to get this ball in, like for example, there was this one with this ball, you had to fire it into the thing, and instead I just stuck something to it, and it, like, dropped it in, dropped it in the basket. Oh, nice. Just broke it. So yeah, it's just about trying to find ways to solve puzzles. They're fun, but it's very similar to Breath of the Wild. It's at the end you either get one point which you can use towards stamina or heart pieces, which is the same as Breath of the Wild, really. And there's like hundreds of shrines. You do have different type of shrines now, which are like out in the open world. So, like, in this, like, you know, they're in the sky. I mean, spoilers, it's in the sky.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that. Everyone knows that. Yeah, so, like, there's some where it's just an open area, and it's like, go collect this green diamond, or this green, like, rock from somewhere, and it just shows, gives you, like, a line where it is, and you got to, like, try and traverse the sky to get to the diamond thing and bring it back. So there's like some puzzles like that. So there's some different stuff in there as well. It's not all in the same generic like looking shrine temples like in the first game. There are some different ones in there as well. So it's a little bit of a mixture. And I mean, I guess it's spoilers, but minor spoilers.
It's a Zelda game. It's a
minor
Zelda
spoilers,
game.
guys.
It's not really that much story.
I mean, it's minor spoilers for this and for Elden Ring, I guess, because it's also kind of a spoiler for Elden Ring. You know, in Elden Ring, you like go in the lift and you just keep going down, and you keep going down and down and down, and then there's this complete underground world with like stars in the sky and all that. Yeah, Zelda does that too. There's a massive,
cool.
There's a massive underground area in Tears of the Kingdom, I can't remember what it's called now, but it's literally just pitch black, and you got to like fire these arrows to light it up, and it's just like hundreds of monsters down there and stuff. And it's like basically the Dark Souls part of Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh,
It's very
nice.
hard, so that's another section to do. So there's more stuff to do in this game than just shrines. That's the thing. So the shrines are the same, but there's more to do than just shrines. So there's like
Oh,
exploring the deep. I think it's like the darkness or the depth or something it's called. I can't remember exactly what it is, but yeah, it's pretty rad. and
that
for a
sounds
Switch,
awesome.
and for a Switch game where you can make like items to stick together, and you can also jump from the sky world to the underground in one jump. The fact that I've had no bugs or glitches is absolutely insane to me. How the Switch is running this game, I have no idea. I have no
Well,
idea how that's even possible.
I mean, it is impressive, but the thing that is pretty crazy, pretty evident, even just 2 seconds in, is I was, like right at the start, like
Yeah.
literally right at the start, you've got like all the vistas underneath you, and you've got like all the different floating platforms and all that. Well, I thought, oh, I'm going to climb a tree and get an apple,
Yeah.
right? Just because I might need it, don't know.
Yeah.
And so I was climbing up this tree, and then the camera just all of a sudden, because I got a bit of a drift on my Joy-Con,
Yeah.
it went just behind me a little bit to where it could see the world behind me, and the frame rate just went immediately. It was like
Okay.
5 frames, and I was like, "Oh no!" And it was until it got back that I couldn't see it anymore. Then the frame rate kicked back in.
Oh,
And I was
okay.
like, "Whoa!" Now I am playing it in handheld mode at the moment,
Okay.
so maybe that's why.
Yeah,
But
docked.
that's the only thing I've noticed in terms of like graphical fidelity, and what you can do. It's mega impressive, like you
Yeah.
say, really impressive.
It's shocking to me how yeah, I've mainly played it on docked, so I played a little bit on handheld, but mainly on docked myself. So I haven't really had any of these issues myself. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I can't wait to play more. I'm obsessed. I can't stop myself playing it. I'm up till like 3 o'clock in the morning playing it. I'm like, I need to stop now.
Oh man,
It's so
I
much
can't wait.
fun. Oh yeah, but yeah, the depths. You'll love the depths. I'm sure you will. That's such a like yeah, and it's like
I can't
yeah,
can't wait.
it's funny because like my two favorite open world games are like Elden Ring and Breath of the Wild, and the fact that like this is essentially both of them, I'm kind of that just makes me really happy. So
Like a match made in heaven.
exactly. So yeah, that's what we've been playing. Should we move on to? I don't know what we're doing. Oh yeah. So we weren't going. I'm not going to mention any news at all today. I was just going to have a fun, just chill episode. But big news happened. The Activision deal has been approved by Europe. So the UK is the only people being against it, really, as bloody Brits. Call blimey, governor. Cup of tea, fish and chips. Oh no! I know you said you already discussed it on your podcast or anything like that because obviously your PlayStation podcast, but it's to me it's just
Well, it's mostly for me. The reason why we haven't discussed it is just because I knew it would be going on for years, like for ages. And the thing about it is,
yeah,
there's a new kind of story, every single week. And the thing was that was doing my head in at the start was that it was just back and forth between Jim Ryan and Phil Spencer
yeah,
every other week, and it was just so boring because it was obvious what they were doing. Each of them were trying to be able to put the best foot forward with the regulators. So it's like, well, you can't really trust anything either of these guys say. And so,
no,
what's the point? I'll wait. But it will be quite interesting actually to pick your brain a little bit on this because I know, and apologies if you and I have covered this to death.
oh
But
no, it's good. We're all good. Go ahead.
do you think that obviously the thing with the CMA, I imagine is going to be they're going to walk it back, right? I imagine that after they come back with the evidence or they come back with their rebuttal, that it's going to end up going through. I think it's a cert that it was going to go through from the off, right?
Yeah.
Um, the interesting thing is that do you think that following let's go down the basis that the CMA says yeah it's in, right,
Yeah.
and it goes through, and it actually happens. Do you think that you're going to see then all like the past COD games go straight into Game Pass, kind of like day one?
Yes, definitely. I think that's the maybe not. I mean, the newest ones should go on their day one, but I think there was some.
You think the newest ones?
Yeah, I mean that's how Xbox they like to put their first party games on their day one. But I think there was a rumor go around that PlayStation have got some kind of deal to keep it off Game Pass for a couple of years, so it might not happen straight away. Maybe I'm not 100% sure, but I think stuff like Diablo definitely will go on their day one as soon as this is all done. You know, it's frustrating for me because I want to play Diablo, but then I'm like, do I buy it or like do I wait just in case it gets approved? You know, it's very.
Yeah, I mean, do you get on the Xbox side? Do you get many first-party games leave the service
No,
for Game Pass?
never really.
They stay on there forever, do they?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, the only time this happened was Quantum Break went, and that was because of legal issues with the company who made it, Quantum Break, and then it came back a week later anyway. Oh, actually, Forza. Forza sometimes goes away because they have copyrighted music, and then they can't and they like for some reason there's some like copyright on cars, so you can't. You only have a license for like 3 or 4 years, so you can't. So they do list it completely though, so it's not just taking it off Game Pass. You just can't buy it anymore at all. So.
Oh right,
yeah,
that's a different kettle of fish.
Which is not good for game preservation at all, to be honest. Very frustrating.
But I suppose that's a good thing though, right? Because like with on the other side on PlayStation,
yeah,
the like with PlayStation Extra and Premium, etc. Games on that cycle, so you can never be sure that a first party game is going to be on there, you know, in infinitum. So you think, right, well, it's probably going to be on there, you know, maybe a year, say. It's like Spider-Man. Spider-Man's just left now.
Right.
Spider-Man remastered. So you think, right, well, okay, it makes sense. They want to be able to sell, you know, like kind of a bundle in the lead up to Spider-Man 2, whenever that all happens. But that's quite a good thing for you guys. If you could think, right, well, maybe it is worth you holding off on Diablo.
Yeah.
It might be worth you hanging fire for a couple of months. And then, you know, if you've got it forever, because like a game like Diablo is potentially years worth of play, right? So if it did go on and then cycled off, you'd kick yourself then and think, shit, why didn't I just buy it, right?
Yeah.
Like immediately. But if you've got that kind of promise that it's never leaving, then, you know, at least that gives you some security.
That is the problem with Game Pass a lot of the times. You don't know what's coming. Sometimes they'll have a third-party game come out and you're like, damn, I just spent £60 on that and now I was on Game Pass. So like, well, damn, I just wasted a load of money. That happens quite a lot. So, yeah, it can be a bit frustrating that. But, yeah.
Won't be happening with this month's lineup. No. Did you see this month's lineup?
No, I didn't see this lineup.
It's not good. No. I mean, you got Chicory. I've never seen that right. Chicory, something like that.
Chicory, yeah.
It came to.
It's like a puzzle game, isn't it, where you have to about colouring stuff in, right?
Yeah, you colour in stuff. It's like a colouring adventure thing. And that's good. That's a good game. That came to PS Plus, I think, just regular PS Plus, on its launch. Good game, worth checking out. But apart from that, I don't think you got anything to worry about. And the games leaving for this month for Xbox aren't bad either. I think you're missing Lawnmower Simulator.
Oh no!
So if you haven't cut your grass by now, your time's running out.
But yeah, I agree with you though when it comes to this Activision deal. I just want to get it done, to be honest. And I'm happy that the European people have, like, approved it, because I'm hoping that means we're a step closer to it being done. I just want it done. That's all I really care about. Is like, I'm not really a big Call of Duty fan, but if I get it on Game Pass, I'll probably play it. You know, that's the way I see it. You know, and it's just, you know.
And, I mean, the original worries for us on the PlayStation side of the fence were that, you know, that potentially we might not get it.
Yeah.
And that would just be, I for the last few years now, probably about 4 years, I've gone back into being a COD convert. I was playing COD last night, and just can't stop myself, to be honest. And so if it went, it would suck. Like, I would really miss it. If it comes to Game Pass day one, does it affect me? No. Like, I would buy it anyway. I don't need it free on PS Extra or anything like that. Would it be nice? Yes, of course. I suppose the interesting thing, right, and this is worth picking your brain on, with the CMA, with the European Union, with their deal, I read, and I don't know how true this is, because you know what it's like on Twitter.
Oh yeah.
They're in either camp, either PlayStation or Xbox, or the random Nintendo guy who shouts on his own corner every now and again, right?
Yeah.
and they always take whatever the fact is and then spin it in
Yeah.
a particular way. So I don't know how true this is, but with the European Union, the deal that I've seen on Twitter is talking about how that games, if they go to cloud services, that there's no charge for them doing that. Have you
Yeah.
seen any of this nonsense? I
So
don't really understand how it works.
I think they still have to charge for it, but I think if they put like games like Call of Duty, they would be paying the same price to have it on their cloud service as Xbox would, I think, and it would be available to all cloud services, including PlayStation, if they want it. The only concern I would have as a PlayStation fan, if cause, like, is that Jim Ryan still hasn't signed the deal. Like, I can imagine literally they all sign the deal and it all gets sorted, and then PlayStation goes, "Oh, we'll sign the deal now," and then Xbox goes, "Oh, that deal's no longer available for you. Sorry, bye bye." Like,
Yeah.
you've had this deal for a long time now, and they just still haven't signed it, which is crazy to me. I feel like just sign it, just get it done. I don't.
I mean,
Playing
the
chicken.
thing is, the thing is about it, right? That you, it's kind of a bit of a big dick play,
Yeah.
because on Jim Ryan's side, it all depends on money, right? And
Yeah.
if say Big Daddy Microsoft say, well, we don't need COD money, fair enough, right?
Yeah.
If they don't need it, my guess is after shelling out this big for Activision Blizzard, they'll be like, yeah, we need that cash in. So at that point, do you cut your nose off to spite your face? Do you say, right, well, we won't put it on PlayStation if they don't sign the deal? I can't imagine them
No.
not doing that. If it was the case they got Activision for a steal, and it
Yeah.
was pocket change money, like if they bought Ubisoft now, they'd probably get Ubisoft for about £2.50. Right? Nobody wants Ubisoft. They're trash.
Yeah.
Right? If you did that, then you could say, right, well, screw PlayStation. We won't put it out there.
Oh.
But when you're spending, like billions,
Oh yeah.
you need
They need
you
the
need
money.
that cash in. So I think they're probably just waiting until they can get some kind of deal that instead of it being 10-year, it would just be a parity.
Yeah,
I want an input. Yeah,
I can't see them doing that. That's the only thing. But it's just like, it does feel like a game of chicken to me. I'm like, just like, who's gonna crack
100%.
first? I just wish they would just get it sorted now. It's just like, just kiss already. Just get over with.
It's gone on. It's gone on too long. It's gone on too long, and
It's driving
I
me
don't know
mad.
how people have the energy. I
No.
don't know how people have the energy to keep fighting it. It's so boring to me, because it's
Yeah.
just like it's the same arguments all the time. It's like you see it gets approved by someone, and you see all these the ride or die Xbox people where they'll put like all the COD games Game Pass, and they'll have like
Yeah.
all that
Oh yeah, I see that all the
that
time.
picture of that guy crying with the Sony hat on, right?
Yeah.
And then every time it gets the other way, you see just the exact opposite from
It's
PlayStation,
hilarious,
where it's
yeah.
just all Xbox. And it's like, oh, I see it like every other day, where like
Yeah.
some random news will come out. Someone will be like, oh, Jim Ryan just farted while he was doing a presentation. Oh, he's shitting on
PlayStation.
Xbox.
Ah.
And then whatever.
No, I
it's
get
just
it.
like, oh god, it's so boring to me. I'm like,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ,
It's all,
get it done.
yeah, it's just about the games for me. That's all I really care about. I don't really give a shit about all this bloody legal paperwork, I just want it done so we can move on. I mean, I keep saying it. I want Sega. Buy Sega. But they're not going to buy Sega.
Sega?
Yeah, I want Sega. I think it makes the most sense for X. I say it every week on the podcast. It makes the most sense. they need to, because the thing that they're missing, the Xbox and the PlayStation and Nintendo have is like some kind of like heritage, some like longer lasting IP. So if they had like Sonic and they had like some of these classic Sega characters in their back catalogue, and also they have Atlas, so they have all the Japanese JRPGs, then they could actually maybe compete a bit better. Personally, that's my logical pick.
I guess, right? But the thing about it is, Xbox isn't like the new kid on the block anymore. It's been like 20 years, isn't it?
It's true, yeah, that is
It's been
true.
a long old
20
time.
years, 21.
So,
Yeah.
you've already got some legendary IP. It's just you need it put
All of
out,
them.
right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you just need games coming out for them. So you've got Gears, you've got
True,
Fable,
true.
you've got the entirety of Bethesda. You got fucking Doom, for God's
That's
sake.
true. We do have Doom. Yes.
So
Needs
I
to be
don't know.
sorted.
Sega to me is so Japanese
Oh yeah,
as a company. I can't see them fitting in with Xbox at all. Like
they need
it's the one nut they haven't been able to crack
it's
yet.
Japan.
Is that Japanese
That was
market?
the main reason I
And
always say Sega is because they need to get in Japan. That is like the biggest hurdle. So if they released it in Japan as the Sega Xbox, maybe they'd have a chance. I don't know.
maybe
That's
yeah.
always been my logic.
If they called it a Sega Xbox Dreamcast 2,
I
it's
would
got
buy
my
it.
money. Oh my god, yeah.
But yeah,
The VMU, if I had that in it, take my money. I don't
Yeah.
care what shit you put out for it. I'll buy it.
because I mean, I did have a reason for bringing it up, but basically, what my point is that obviously this Activision deal's been dragging on for so long. We can't really talk about any other deals or anything else happening or like new studios being built or anything. They just everything's just been put into this Activision deal, and we're just like, well, this has been done. We're not really hearing news about anything else, and it's really frustrating as an Xbox fan to just be like, I guess we're gonna be stuck here until this is sorted. We're kind of just like like a car's stuck in like the mud or something, and you're just waiting to get towed out. You're just waiting and waiting and waiting, waiting for this to get done, and you can't do anything else while we're waiting. Just sat there.
Yeah.
It's like, so annoying.
It's the big elephant in the room, isn't it? It's all everyone ever wants to talk about. And I suppose, and this is probably, I'm sure that I've probably asked you this on PS We Trust, to be
probably.
honest. But if this deal does go through, right, and they get all of Activision Studios, you get everyone from Raven all the way through to King. Are you worried about how that would kind of fit in with Microsoft? Do you think that they'll kind of fold them into the company and they'll have them being run by the kind of execs at Xbox, or do you think they'll keep it as a very separate entity and just kind of leave them to it, but they obviously milk everything they got?
So, before Redfall, I was a lot more confident. Since Redfall, not so much. It's a bit of a concern. Like, if you can't handle like Bethesda stuff, which is like a smaller company, how are you going to handle another 20 studios on top of what you've already got? That's worrying for me. I said this last week in the podcast. I feel like they need to hire more people. They need more people in the head. Like, Phil can't do everything. Phil Spencer can't do everything in Xbox. He needs more people running these companies. And like, and he needs, it's like he's saying it's by fault the Redfall failed and all that. So, well, I respect you for saying that, Phil, but really you can't be everywhere at once. There's like so many companies that you run in at the same time, and there's also like PlayStation. We're on 21 studios, I think PlayStation have roughly.
Yeah, right about there.
Yeah, so they built that up over the last 30 years or whatever.
Yeah.
Whereas Xbox, we had 5 studios in 2013, and now we're at like 40 in like 7 years,
Wild.
8 years, 10 years actually, because we're 2023. I'm old. I forget what year we're in. It's been the last like 10 years roughly. The Xbox brand has completely blown up in size, and I feel like we need more people to like who know what they're doing, like in charge. I don't know. I was like saying, find some former Nintendo or Sony execs who have managed these companies before and try and like get Reggie in. I want my body to be ready with Xbox. Get Reggie recently in.
Do you not worry that it's too many cooks though? Like too many cooks spoil the broth. That if you do get more people in, like that's the last thing they need right now. Like maybe it might be worth cutting down, maybe cutting some of the chaff and just having just the prime, and then you've got like, right, well these are our big boys, these are our guys that actually do the work, and then we'll build from there. Like maybe then from there we start building, but time to cut some of this excess waste that ain't working.
I mean,
because
Xbox is the biggest company in the world, or one of the biggest companies in the world, yet they don't seem to be able to organize their games division at all. It's very worrying. It makes me upset because I thought Redfall was going to be the start of something good here. Like I thought we'd have a good run of games, and Redfall was a complete disaster. I mean, luckily we had Hi-Fi Rush at the beginning of the year, or it would be a complete disaster this year. And if Starfield is a bust, then I don't know what to think anymore.
I cannot see that happening in a million years. I cannot. I mean, I don't think it's going to be the. I think I was saying this on the last episode of the show, but I don't think it's going to be the second coming of Christ. Like, I don't think it's going to be that game like Zelda is now, where it's like changing everything. I don't think it's going to be that. But if it comes out and is solid, that's enough. I think, you know, if it comes out
Not for sure.
and it's
A
good,
9, a 9, a
a
9.5.
9.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
totally
Oh,
down there.
gotcha.
I agree with that, and I was I was thinking there's no way it could possibly live up to Tears of the Kingdom. It's just not happening. I'm sorry. I mean, if it's as good as like Skyrim, like if we get like a Skyrim moment with it when it comes out, that'll be absolutely
That'd
fantastic.
be big.
But
Big
we'll
if
have
it
to
is,
see.
yeah.
You know, I'm hoping this. I just hoping it's decent. That's all I'm hoping for now. Is I'm worried. I wasn't worried before Redfall. Now I am. I thought they had all their ducks in a row. I think that was the first big cock up they've done in a good couple of years, because I feel like Forza was solid, Psychonauts was solid, Flight Simulator was solid, Hi-Fi Rush was solid. You know, they might have had delays and stuff, but they've usually put out good content. And then they delayed Redfall for a whole year, and it was still awful. And that's just terrifying.
I mean, you've got the showcase coming up soon, don't you?
Yeah,
For Xbox.
and
So
you
that
guys
would
have
be,
one before it as well, I think. So they got to follow you
well,
guys, which is going to
it's
be fun.
it's rumored. It's the same rumor that I've been seeing ever since like October. That
True.
there's going to be one coming up. So until Sony announce it, I'm not even thinking there is going to be one. Right? Surely there is. Surely there's bound to be. But then I've been saying this ever since October.
Yeah.
So who knows, right?
You guys are just
But,
coasting, man. You're like, you've got Spider-Man 2, and you're just like, yeah,
Well-
we're good. We don't like, you don't even have to mention any other games. It's like,
I mean,
Spider-Man.
I mean, this year's wild. This year's wild. I mean, we got Final Fantasy coming out in you know, weeks now. And sure, it's on PC as well.
Yeah.
So we got that, Spider-Man, and then we got another dose of Final Fantasy 7 Remake Part 2 coming out at the end of the year. So
Yeah.
it's stacked already. Let alone the rumor is that factions for Last of Us is going to be coming out.
Yeah,
That's the rumor. That's the big rumor that's coming out this year. So we'll have to see. I mean, that the original factions never hit for me. I was never a huge fan of it. So who knows? Maybe that is the big hit that they're looking for in terms of live service games. But we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I think with you guys, it's just a case of, I don't even think the showcase. I think no matter what they show, it's not going to like lessen the worries too much.
That's
So I
true.
think
Very
I
true.
think because they've had great showcases already. Like, I don't think it's been a duff showcase from Xbox yet. They've all been good. Even if there's things that are questionable, you know, like Hellblade 2, where definitely was not gameplay. That 100% wasn't, and total bullshit, that whole thing. But if they come out and they say, right, well, here's a couple of good trailers, you know, and the dates aren't too far off, and maybe here's a demo, or here's something to whet your appetite with, right? So people can get their hands on something, try it, feel if it's good, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I think you need, like you were saying, like with Redfall, you just need something to really just inject that confidence back in at the moment. Don't
Starfield.
you? And I don't know what that is.
Starfield is the one.
Maybe.
It has to hit. If it doesn't hit, then wow, my confidence is completely gone in Xbox. I'm hoping they fix this. I'm really nervous now. But yes, I mean,
Fingers crossed for you.
I mean, I was obviously like you guys discussed the Phil Spencer quotes last week. He was saying about how big games don't sell consoles. Hello again.
I saw you and Alice talking about that on your
Yeah.
last episode.
But I was going to say is the
And,
fact that I'm an Xbox guy, but I own a PlayStation purely because of Spider-Man 2. Like, and I know that's coming eventually. That's the reason I bought a PlayStation. So I'm sure there's going to be people who are buying Xboxes just for Starfield. I'm sure it's going to happen. If it's good, obviously. If it's bad, then obviously not.
Well, this is the thing, right? Like, you don't, if you keep going on the same trajectory, right? Where there's games that do come out, yeah, but they don't set the world on fire, you know, and they're good, but they're not at that level. They're not at like that cultural significance.
They're not God of
like,
War or Tears of the
say,
Kingdom.
Exactly right. Yeah. You're not hitting that kind of level. Then no one's really going to care, because you could have, like, I always think back at this, like the PS3, especially towards the end or from the midpoint on the PS3 generation, it was exclusive after exclusive after exclusive, and they were all good, right? But not too many great. You had like the Uncharted trilogy, you had Last of Us, you had God of War 3, Resistance 2 and 3, and the Killzone games, and that was probably about it. But there was so many exclusives. but it didn't really mean too much. Like, did anyone rush out to get a PS3 to get Starhawk? No,
Oh
probably
man,
not, right?
Starhawk.
Um, oh,
I
what a
remember
game! What a
Starhawk.
good game as well.
Good
Old Mac.
concept.
Yeah, yes, yeah. But this is the thing. You need some stuff now that's like, right. This is like
I,
you were saying, like what Redfall should have been.
yeah.
This is the start now.
I,
We're kicking it into gear.
It's funny you mentioned that because that's literally how I feel about Xbox. Is I feel like we are in the early PS3 generation for Sony. That's what the Xbox is now. Like we got a load of exclusives, but they're not really high quality yet. We haven't got to the consistent Last of Us and all those like 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10 games on a consistent basis. We're still trying to get our feet we're still like the Twisted Metal kind of level of exclusives at the moment, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Which is a shame, but I'm optimistic. Fingers crossed. But yeah, we kind of got off a little bit here, so should we move on to our topic of the show? Sort of. Yay. So we have two ways. Well, basically there's sorry. GQ, a British magazine or British website, British, like the CMA, made I'm really stumbling over my words today. I don't know what's wrong with me. Made a list of top 100 games of all time, made by the critics. So they had critics vote in for their favorite games of all time. This is the ultimate list of top 100 games of all time. You've read it over. I haven't. I was gonna give my first impressions here and go. Oh. I already know what number 1 is. I think. But okay. we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But we also wanted to discuss our personal top 10 games and see how they line up with the critics. Essentially, that was the idea. So do we want to do our top 10s first, or do we want to do the official top 100 first and then see how our top 10s match up? Which way would you like to do it?
I think what we'll do is let's go for a critic's choice. Let's see what they got. Yeah. And then we'll put them to rights afterwards by showing them what a true top 10 list is.
That sounds good to me. Okay, so I got the list up here. Well, I'll bring it up on my phone. Yeah. So because I did have it on my computer, but because I'm recording and Alice usually records, my system is completely messed up. So I'm doing this all on the fly differently. There's so many tech issues.
I can do this if you want me to, mind. I can pull it up and go through them if you want me to.
Yeah, I mean, I've got it on my phone as well. We'll just read them out, really.
Legend.
Yeah, so...
Legend.
I mean, how far back do we want to go? Because number 100 is Knights of the Old Republic. So that's pretty cool. Are we going to go 100 to 1, or are we just going to do the top 10?
Let's go for a top 10. I don't think anybody's got enough patience for 100 games. Even though there are some absolute bangers even in that top 90. In that first ones from 90 to 100.
Number 96 is Super Mario Bros. Are you serious? Number 96? 96?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, wow. I mean, it's not in my top 10, but still. Fable 2, Mass Effect. I'm just going through it. GTA 4, the worst GTA. Wow, it's not that bad, actually. Yes, 89.
Fine. Better than GTA London.
Yeah, Mario Odyssey number 87. Jeez. All right, I'm trying to get to number 1, but this list is very long. Is it all on one page, or have I got is it multiple pages?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's all on one page with just adverts every
scroll.
Scroll.
Oh, got to 7. I gotta go back. I went too far. Okay. Oh, okay.
Spoiler for number 7.
Number 10 in the ultimate list of ultimate awesomeness of critics, whatever they want to call it. Number 10, Half-Life 2. Sure. I mean, it's a good game. I've never really... I don't know. What do you think? I'm not...
Phil's gonna hate me for this. And I've sworn by this ever since I played it. I was a huge fan of Half-Life. Yeah. And my parents had a PC. And I was never a PC gamer. Never have been.
No,
I could barely find the escape button. And... literally, I saw all the rave about Half-Life when it came out, and so I bought it. And the PC, my parents' PC, could run it, and it was amazing. It blew my mind, right? I couldn't believe that this is what PC people were eating while I was playing, Destruction Derby on a PS1,
That game was class, to be fair. That should be on the top 100. I remember Destruction Derby. That was so much fun.
It was great. And yeah, I was playing on my PS1, PS2, and I was enjoying, Final Fantasy X or whatever it was. And then I remember playing Half-Life and I was like, oh my god. Oh my god. The suit would tell me when I broke a leg. The suit would say this to me. The suit would talk to me.
Yeah.
The doctors, I can smack them in the face with a crowbar. Anyway, flash forward years later, and everyone was saying about Half-Life 2 and how great it was and how amazing it was and how revolutionary the gravity gun was and all this stuff. I just never picked it up, just never bothered.
Huh.
And then Phil was like, just on to me like a bloody bad itch all the time. You need to play Half-Life 2, you need to play Half-Life 2. So I bought the collection that had Portal and
The orange box.
Half-Life. Yeah, the orange box thing.
Sure.
And I thought it was okay.
It's all right.
I just didn't get it. And I think the issue was that I came to it so much later.
Yeah, I agree.
That I played already, like, you know, Killzone 2 and 3 and all these different games where it borrows so much. Like, every game borrowed so much from Half-Life 2.
True.
That when I played it where it came from originally, I didn't appreciate that that's where it came from. I just thought, oh, it's what I've done for the last 5 years. But it's all because everything else copied Half-Life 2.
I agree.
So...
No, I agree, because, like, with Half-Life 2, like, games like Halo Combat Evolved and stuff, it was all about environmental storytelling, and that was basically highly inspired by Half-Life 2, but I would play Halo over Half-Life 2 any day of the week, honestly, like the original one. So, I mean, like, I feel like, as you said, going back to it now, it doesn't, I don't know if it's aged as well as people think it has. I would recommend people go back and play it now and see how they feel, because it's not as good as I remember it, but it's still a good game. It's still influential. It did some good things for the industry. Not my cup of tea, though. Honestly, it wasn't really my thing, personally.
Didn't make my top 10.
No, and then people could get their pitchforks out now and come at me down.
They will.
Speaking about games that didn't make my top 10, Dark Souls, the original, great game, but not in my top 10. Great game. What a game.
Near perfect experience. Perfect experience. I played Dark Souls 1 so many times, like an infinite number of times, and I went back last year, I think it was.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what, I'm going to get the platinum on Dark Souls 1.
Oh, wow.
And I did it. It took me ages to get all different weapons and all different things. And it was just incredible. It's just one of those games that is just infinitely replayable. Deserves to be in this top 10 spot.
Hell yeah.
Definitely.
I mean,
definitely. Coming in at number 9. Dark
Souls, I love the idea of Dark Souls, and I love watching Dark Souls, but I just suck at video games. I can never get past the first or second boss in Dark Souls games, and that's my problem. So, you know, if there's a game, for example, that I can cheese past the bosses of a Souls type game, I would probably like it a bit more. Hint, hint. Later on. If there's something I can, could cheese past some of the harder stuff, just put that out. Number 8 is Portal 2. Great game. Good co-op game, good single player game. I think Portal 1 may be better. I don't know. It's more of like a tech demo.
Crazy Portal.
The first one, though, I don't know. I might be better. I said might be. I'm not 100% sure, actually. It's debatable.
No way.
No, you think 2's better, definitely?
100% 2's better than 1, yeah. 2 is just like the perfect realization of what Portal is, to me. And you get just awesome moments, like GLaDOS being in the potato.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just class.
Stephen
you
Merchant.
Get that moment where you go in through that science lab, and it's done by I can't remember the actor's name now. It's the same guy who voices J. Jonah Jameson.
Oh yes. Yes.
I can't remember his name. That's gonna kill me not remembering his name.
I might Google it.
But that entire section is so good, and I think the reason why I love it so much as well is not just because of how perfect it plays and the humor and the story and everything, but the experience I had. I played it through with Phil, co-host of In PS We Trust, and the way we did it was that he was playing on his PC and I was playing on PS3, and you could do cross between Steam and PlayStation.
I remember that.
Wild. It was wild. Never seen it before, never seen it since. At that time.
Yeah.
And Yeah, incredible experience.
J.K. Simmons, by the way, I just looked it up.
J.K. Simmons.
So,
Thank you. That would have eaten me up. I would have woken up in the middle of the night with that.
J.K. Simmons! I need pictures of Spider-Man! Yeah, Portal 2 is great, though, and it's one of the best co-op games ever, I would say. Absolutely fantastic game to play in co-op. GLaDOS is hilarious, and Stills Wheatley, a.k.a. Stephen Merchant. I mean, considering these characters are like just basically almost like disembodied voices or just robots, they got so much personality behind them. It's absolutely crazy. Love Portal 2. Did make my list though. Just gonna put that out there. I love it though.
Didn't make mine.
Oh no.
Probably should have.
Okay, so this is gonna be a spoiler for my list, but this next game actually does make it on my list. Just about. Number 7 on the all-time greatest games of all time according to critics is Metal Gear Solid. Metal Gear. Oh. The best 6 out of 10 according to Spencer, apparently.
Still haunts me to this day that he gave Metal Gear Solid. Metal Gear Solid. The best. Hideo Kojima's debut,
that's a masterpiece.
Debut on the PlayStation 1, an absolute bona fide masterpiece. One of the best games of all time.
It is.
It appears in my list as well.
Yeah.
I won't tell you where.
The same. And also the thing about the thing about Metal Gear Solid 1, the original, is that you can still go back to it and play it, and you can still watch the cutscenes, and it's still just as enjoyable now as it was back then. Yeah, the controllers are a little tanky and a little clunky, but it's still infinitely replayable and infinitely it's still the voice acting is much better than you're a massive Resident Evil fan, it's not like they're going I thought you were going to be a Jill sandwich like the original Resident Evil voice acting. The voice acting in Metal Gear Solid 1 still holds up to this day for the most part.
The thing about it is it's so impactful because before Metal Gear Solid, you just didn't have that level of production value. Yeah. To be able to have that moment where you come at the lift right at the start, and Snake's getting unchanged out of all his scuba gear, and then the titles come up, and then as soon as you come up, you just see the helicopter behind D, and it just flies off, and you're like, oh my god! You see all the snow, and you can walk, and your footsteps would track, and it's just every moment when I played that as a kid was just blowing my mind. Every single moment of it.
Should we just stop the podcast and just talk about Metal Gear Solid for an hour? Because I'm
please.
I one of my favorite clips from in PS3 Trust ever is when you're doing the monologue of Wolf and Otacon from Metal Gear Solid 1. I love that clip. It's so good. It's they do for people who haven't watched the PS3 Trust, they do dares you dare each other to do impressions and stuff. So I think Spence asked you to do an impression of Otacon or something, and then you ended up just doing a whole 30 or 40 second speech.
With Otacon's got 3 words, and
so
all the
good.
rest of it is Snake. Yeah.
Oh, I love Metal Gear Solid 1. It's such a good game, Metal Gear Solid 1. This is the big question. What do you think of Twin Snakes?
I detest it. I detest it. And the reason being, right, I should love it. On paper, you think, right, we're going to remake it. GameCube graphics. I love the GameCube. It's going to have everything from Metal Gear Solid 2 that you love, but in Metal Gear Solid 1. On paper, that sounds immense.
Yeah.
But then in reality, all that happens is it just breaks the game because guards can still only see you in a tiny, cone. And you could just, first person, just nail them from across the map. And it just totally ruins it. You can totally cheese every boss going, and Snake for whatever reason becomes Cyborg Ninja. He's doing flips out of nowhere. He's never been that athletic, and he's doing insane flips. He's basically, you might as well grind on the bloody Hind D's missiles when they're coming at him and fire a Nikita. It's wild. It's insane. Too much for me. Would I kill to see it be remade on PS5? Yes. Yeah. Yes, I would. I would skin a man and eat them alive for that. I would do anything.
Yeah, the rumors the rumor is it's Metal Gear
Yeah.
Solid 3, isn't it? It's getting the remake, which I like Metal Gear Solid 3 just fine, but the first one, I would much prefer to see the first one done, personally.
Oh, God,
Oh
yeah.
my god, it's such a good game. Like, it's like little things. It's like, I see you be playing Super Smash Brothers. Or you've been playing Castlevania with Psycho Mantis. Oh my god, it's so good. And then like also like we're going to show Solid Snake looking at Meryl's ass, and you're going to think he's a pervert, but it's like, no, that's actually important to the story, and you need to pay attention to that.
Oh. When I was a kid, and the Colonel's telling me, "Oh, you can find her code on the back of the box, Snake."
Oh my
And I'm
god,
like,
yes.
"What you want about the back of the box?" And I'm like looking at all my cardboard boxes, like reading the description. I'm like, "Is this a clue?" I'd been playing a lot of Resident Evil before, so I was like,
Yeah.
"Is this a clue? Do I need to figure this out?" And then it wasn't until literally I've just randomly just thought I'll have a look through the instruction guide, turn it over, and I see the code deck on the picture on the back.
So
and I
good.
think, oh my god, this is so good.
Oh
How
man,
did they think of this?
I need
So
I
good.
need to play that game now. I'm gonna play it later. I'm just I just love Metal Gear Solid so
good.
much. And
So
like
good.
can't wait for Death Stranding 2, even though I haven't finished the first one. I need to go back and play this one. And also there's a rumored Xbox Hideo Kojima game coming as well, which I'm looking forward to. Oh yes, I think we could talk about Metal Gear Solid all day, but I think we better move on to number 6 because
I think you're
I
right.
literally could just keep talking about how good that game is.
And me.
Number 6 is Mass Effect 2. Interesting. I think it's a good choice. Again, not on my list, but I like it.
Do you know, this is like my biggest gaming like faux pas. Everyone's got them, right? Games that they've just missed or they
Yeah.
haven't played. I've never played a single Mass Effect.
Wow.
And I know it's terrible.
How dare
And I
you.
went into this year saying that it was going to be my New Year's resolution that I'll play the Mass Effect trilogy. I'll probably skip Andromeda. And
yeah, that's a good call.
and I just haven't had time. And I'm desperate to, because everything I've heard is just glowing. But would you not? It certainly wouldn't make a top 10 for yourself, then, Lewis.
I think it's a great game. I think it'd probably be my top 100 for sure. It wouldn't be my top 10, but it's a great game. Like, is the whole? I mean, am I spoiling Mass Effect 2? Well, probably a little bit, but it's just basically it's all about essentially you build up for a suicide mission essentially, and you just gotta get your crew together. And it's just basically how strong your crew is how well you do in the game, basically. So it's like the whole game is building up to one super mission at the end, essentially. And it's like all your connection, like it basically the end of the game, the payoff of the final mission essentially makes up for everything else in the entire game.
Oh, wow.
Essentially, it's very, like probably the best final mission in like a video game, like probably ever. One of the top, like that would be my top 10 final missions for sure.
Wow.
It's a very good game, Mass Effect 2. Mass Effect 3 was a little bit of a letdown. I mean, again, spoilers for Mass Effect 3, but basically the end of the Mass Effect 3 just came down to, do you want a red explosion, a green explosion, or a blue explosion? That's literally it. It's like none of the thing you did before that really mattered. It's like, oh, okay, great, thanks. That's why everyone was so pissed off with that game when it came out. So Mass Effect 2 is great. Mass Effect 1's a bit buggy, and they fixed it in the remaster, so probably worth playing the remaster. Mass Effect 2 is the best one in the trilogy for sure. And yeah, don't play Andromeda. Fuck that game. Just don't even touch it. Yeah, speaking about gaps in knowledge, The Witcher 3. I have it. I've played about an hour of it multiple times, but I've never got that far into The Witcher 3. I've always wanted to, but I just get so... I don't know, I lose track and end up playing something else. I don't know what's wrong with me. What about you?
Well, I've played 80 hours in The Witcher 3.
Wow.
And I felt like I did nothing in that game. It's so big, it's so vast.
It's me with Tears of the Kingdom. It's me with Tears of the Kingdom right now. I've literally just played that for hours and don't feel like I've done anything.
It's crazy. I mean, and the thing about it is, I got suckered into Gwent. I started playing Gwent, and that was it. You know, like I was like, oh well, here's 20 hours gone. I've just been sitting in this bar playing bloody Gwent, and the game is phenomenal. And at the time on its release, it was a visual showcase. I couldn't believe that it could run. It was wild on PS4, so good. And yeah, I fully appreciate it being here. For me, it's too much. You know, like I'm more one of those guys that likes a short, snappy experience. I like to get in, get out of my games, put them down. 80 hours into a game is a big time investment for me, and to feel like I'd got to the second part of the world and there was another part to go,
Oh God.
and I was like, oh, and it's my
No.
own fault because I couldn't stop looking at everything. You know, I
Yeah.
couldn't stop doing side quests. I just couldn't help myself.
Yeah.
And it's one of those games where it's like, instead of it being like maybe like one or two exclamation marks come up, it'd be like, oh, you entered a new place. Here's 500 things you could do. And for me, it's kind of like a little bit of OCD. As like, I'm really enjoying this. I want to do everything.
Yeah.
And it
Sure.
became too much. It was like, well, this would be my life. This would
Yeah.
do a full year of gaming, and there'd be nothing else left. But fully appreciate those people that have put the time in and seen it through, because I haven't.
Yeah, it was like one of the first games I played on my Series X as well. Like I downloaded it on my Series X to play it while I was downloading all the new games. I was playing my old games from the Xbox One. I said I played it for like an hour, and then I got distracted. I don't know what it is with it. And I love card games, so I'm sure if I started playing Gwent, I would get obsessed because I get addicted to playing like digital card games and stuff. I would probably be obsessed with it if I got into it for sure. And it's always one of those games, as you said with Mass Effect. It's on my list. It's top of my list of games to play is The Witcher 3, and I'm just not got around to it. You know, I need to go around to it and play it definitely, especially if there's a when they make the Series X upgrade or the PS5 upgrade for it, because that's coming soon. I think, right? I'm not sure.
Yeah, yeah. So, well, actually, they've already had upgrades to it. What's happening is that they're doing the Witcher 1. They're doing
Right.
that as a
Yes.
remake. So that's the thing that's coming. So it might very well be a case that you think, right, well, because most people, myself included, started with Witcher 3, right? Because I
Yeah,
think
same.
Witcher 2 was on Xbox, I believe.
And PC as
Xbox.
well. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course, on PC. And so The Witcher 3 just seemed. I remember when Witcher 3 was first announced, and everyone was excited, and I thought, what? I haven't even heard of this franchise before.
Yeah. Same.
And it was wild, and the hype was real, and it's one of those rare times where you have a game where the hype is not only met but like totally exceeded, and then the support. I mean, CD Projekt Red at that point were fucking untouchable. You know,
Sure.
they just were doing everything right. They're saying all the right things, and yeah, cultural icon in terms of gaming for sure. Witcher 3.
Have you watched? Have you watched the Netflix show with Henry Cavill? Or
I love Henry Cavill. I got
Yeah.
such a man crush on him, like
Me
huge
too.
man crush. And oh god,
Makes
I don't know a man
computers,
who
plays
doesn't,
video
to be
games.
fair. Perfect, just a perfect specimen.
Yeah.
And I've watched I think 3/4 of the first season,
Yeah.
and I haven't watched any more. And I
a
need
bit
to,
confusing.
because I need to, but I'm just terrible with TV. I'm not very good
No, I'm the
at
same way.
keeping up to date with it.
I don't watch much TV. The thing with The Witcher season 1, I like it, but I enjoyed it more the second time I watched it, because the first time you watch it is, I mean, yeah, there's like basically 3 storylines going on at once, and they're all going over different time periods. Like, so one story's like going over 1,000 years, another story's going over like 10-minute period. It's like they're all like different lengths. It's really confusing. It's like, what's going on? Did this happen before
Feels-
or after this bit, or during this bit? Like, what's going? It's very
Feels like my time in the
confusing.
game. They'll be like, Geralt, we need to get over to this next village. It's under attack. And I'm like, well, I've got 80 hours worth of just killing these random enemies in this field just to get this farmer 10 gold, right? So this is probably how Geralt feels in real life.
Oh no. Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to number 4, and I'm pretty sure you love this game, and I love this game as well. Again, not in my top 10. Bloodborne. Probably the second best From Software game in my personal opinion, but also fantastic. I love it. It's a brilliant game.
For me, it makes my top 10. It's in my
Ooh.
list. It's my favorite Souls game by a country mile.
That's my second favorite Souls game, but I do appreciate it's very good.
Oh, it's so good. And do you know, it was weird. I had a weird experience with this game because I remember going to, there was an event at a game store in Cardiff, and it was, you got to play the Order 1886 and Bloodborne,
I
right?
think I went to that.
And so did you go?
Did we bump into? I don't know why we didn't bump into each other. I think I went to that same
And-
event.
Might have done, yeah. And I went for the Order 1886, and
Yeah.
I was like, "What's this game, Bloodborne?" I was like, "Oh, this." I played the demo. I played the demo there, and everyone was queuing up for the demo. and nobody was touching the Order 1886, and I was like knee deep in Order 1886. I was like, oh god, I love this, and
Oh,
didn't
wow.
touch Bloodborne at all. Tried it once, died, and then when they came out, I bought Bloodborne, didn't buy the Order 1886.
That's fair.
And never looked back. Never looked back.
Yeah.
Best monetary decision ever made. That.
Do you remember my friend Dean, also known as Smash Feed?
Oh yeah.
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 Well, basically, my first impression of Bloodborne is essentially we did a co-op series, which you can still find on my YouTube channel. We did a co-op series in Bloodborne where he basically played it and I just watched because I suck. So I was just making jokes the whole time. That's my whole experience with it. That guy looks like the Undertaker. Ha ha! That's so funny. But yeah, no, basically, I really enjoy the art style and the world. It's just too hard for me because I suck at video games. It's a great game though. From what I have got about 5-6 bosses into it, but I never finished it because I found it a bit hard for me. Yeah, I struggled with it, but I did enjoy it.
If you need someone to push you through, my character, I normally I always start like a new character for each run. My character, I never did. So my guy, Barry Big Bollocks is his name.
Nice.
He's done like 10 runs. So if you need someone just to kill bosses in like 2 hits, just let me know. And I can come in and push you through it.
Tell you what, if they remaster it for PS5, we will co-op some Bloodborne, definitely for sure. If they remaster it for PS5, I'm totally there. Even though I never finished it on PS4, I'll buy it again. Screw it. Number 3, a fantastic game, Tetris. Yay! Almost. If you've seen the Tetris movie, almost got someone like there's a lot of stuff in Soviet Union down with this game. It's a miracle we even got this game in the end, which is insane to think. Because this was made in the Soviet Union during the Cold War, which is completely mental to think about.
Crazy.
Yeah, but brilliant game. Tetris is the most simple game. My hair is a mess, and it's absolutely fantastic. It's just putting blocks in a row. I mean, what more is there to say about Tetris? I mean, it's amazing.
It's perfect gameplay experience, isn't it? You know, it's a pure
Tetris.
gameplay experience, and it's just the impact at the time. You know, like playing that on a Game Boy was just revolutionary back in the day. You know, with that green screen.
Yeah.
Absolutely wild.
And that's the one they put on the list as well. The green one, you can't really see it. Hey, there it is.
Oh, nice. That's it. That's
the
my
Game Boy one.
right
Yeah. I mean, obviously, and then you also had like Tetris Effect, which is great. Tetris 99, which is great. There's like Tetris Puyo. There's like so many spin-off Tetris games which are fantastic. It's just like it's the best puzzle game ever. Was the most successful video game of all time until Minecraft came out and took it over in sales, but still fantastic. I love Tetris. I can't say anything bad about Tetris. It's just the perfect game, just perfect. It's just it's the more you can say to it. Oh my god, number 2. Have you seen this list? You know what number 2 is? I think you're going to be happy with number 2.
Go for it. What is it?
The Last of Us Part 1.
Okay.
The one I actually like.
Number 2.
The Last of Us I actually like, Part 1. I don't like the PS3 version as well. So I guess they're not counting the PS5 remake, I guess. That's fair enough. Alright, well, I haven't played the remake of the PS5 yet, but I love Last of Us 1. I adore it. I was a bit disappointed with Last of Us 2, which I think we're going to probably come... we're probably going to talk a bit more about Last of Us 2 later, I'm assuming. I'm guessing. Yeah, I thought we would. But I won't go into too much detail with that. But I love Last of Us 1. It was in my top 10 for a very long time until recent games knocked it off the list. But it's like number 11 or 12 or 13. Like, it's up there. Fantastic game. Ellie's a fantastic character. I love the dynamic between Joel and Ellie. The storyline. I still think that Joel was in the right, even though everyone thinks he's the bad guy now. Fuck that. I think he was totally in the right. The Firefly. I'm gonna just rant now. I'm ranting. I'm having it.
Let it go. Let it go. Go on.
Right. Ellie was almost like a death's door, wasn't she? Like she was unconscious. They took her body and they go, we're going to crack her head open and get the bloody cure out. We're not going to speak to her. We're not going to ask anyone's permission to do it. We're just going to kill this girl and take her. We're just going to open her brain up and kill her. I think Joel is fully within his right to go, no, that's fucked up. You can't do that. And I know he went on a murderous rampage to do it, but I totally I totally get where Joel comes from with this. It's like they didn't even ask her if she wanted to have the operation or anything. They just gonna kill her without even talking to her. Like, come on now, at least let her wake up first. Christ.
The thing about
Jesus.
it is, right, the argument would be, and the only way this could be justified as being the right thing to do, to kill all these people, to end humanity's hope, right? The only way it could be justified would be if it wasn't 100% chance that it would work, right?
Yeah.
If there was like a 10% chance of it working, fair enough. You can kind of get more on Joel's side, but when Bruce Straley and Neil Druckmann were asked about it, they said, yeah, it would have 100% worked. It 100% would have worked.
But
so at that point, you got a guy making the choice between all of humanity, potentially. Not to say that the Fireflies definitely would have weaponized it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Or Ellie.
Yeah.
And for me, at the time I played it, I was like, I finished the game, and obviously you get that amazing moment right at the end where she's like, tell me, and he lies to her face, right, on the hillside. And that moment, and then when it goes black and goes to credits, I remember just being sat there stunned for ages, because all that's going through my mind is, I played as the bad guy. I was the bad guy the entire time. And so even though you could justify why they've done it, they're still bad. It's like Thanos, where, he might have a noble intention to a certain extent. He's going to save half the universe by wiping out the other half, right?
Yeah.
That plan makes no sense, obviously, in any logical
way. Just double the resources. Yeah, double the resources.
Just double the resources. Or just make unlimited resources. You got the power of whatever. Anyway, so, but it kind of makes sense. But he's still a bad guy. Joel is 100% a bad guy.
See, I think in this scenario, definitely. I feel like the Fireflies are the Thanos in this scenario. If you're going to do it that logic, because they're killing an innocent girl for no reason.
But no reason, just to save the world.
But also, I was going to say, Neil Druckmann said it was 100% effective, definitely going to happen. But in this scenario, if you were Joel, you wouldn't know that. As far as you're concerned, they're taking this girl that you've basically become your adopted child, just become your new daughter's figure, and they're just going to kill her for a chance of a cure. I mean, I get it. I'm Joel. I'm going to go kill those motherfuckers. And they're not taking my girl like that.
They definitely handled it wrong, the Fireflies.
Oh,
right?
For sure.
They should have. What they should have done is they should have waited for her to wake up and asked her, because
that's all I want.
She would have said yes. Yeah. She would have said yes. She would have said 100%. But what I would have done if I was the Fireflies, I would have played both sides here. I would have had Joel there. I would have had like 50 guards there with guns pointing at him. And then if she says no, you trank the bitch, you do it anyway, right? So I would have been the bad guy in this. I would have done it anyway, right? Because you're saving everyone. But I would have given her the chance. And then, if it's the case that she says, no, I don't want to, you trank her, shoot Joel, done. You saved the world. You committed a bad deed, right? You are a villain at that point, but you've also saved the world. So you got half. You're weighing it up. Whereas they just handled it wrong. And also, if they just asked her, she'd be like, "Yeah, do it." Also, in part 2, it kind of pisses me off that she goes when her dad speaks to Abby, and Abby goes, "I would let you kill me." So, well, you're not the one on the table, Abby. It's not your choice. I'd let you kill me for it. Why not? It's like, shut up, Abby. Fuck's sake. It's funny how a game I kind of despise Last of Us 2, yet I still remember it so well, and I remember a lot of the things that piss me off. I can still talk about it and have long discussions about that game, even to this day. I haven't gone back to play it since I got the platinum, so... Well, it might be coming up. It might be coming up soon. You never know.
So, right, that comes to the number one by critics, the greatest game of all time, which is already outdated, The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. Woo!
Wild.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. I mean, honestly, I think Tears of the Kingdom's better. so it's already outdated. But damn, I know you weren't happy with this number one. I kind of already knew about this number one.
Yeah, it's so overrated. To me personally, so overrated. This game, it's unbelievable. It's like as if RPGs never existed before Breath of the Wild. Like everyone just forgot that you could walk around before, and everyone's like, "Nah, but Breath of the Wild did it."
Yeah.
And it's cool. It's good. It's a great game. It's a great. Don't let me undersell it. It's a great game, but I don't think it would be anywhere near my top 50. I don't think it would be anywhere near that. For me, it's nowhere near Ocarina.
Nowhere near that.
Wow.
Or even, do you know what's mental?
Well,
I prefer Phantom Hourglass to Breath of the Wild.
Blasphemy. No, I mean, my favourite Zelda games are Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild, and then it would be Link Between Worlds. And then
Link Between Worlds great, yeah.
I like the openness. I think the thing with Breath of the Wild is that you could go anywhere, you could do whatever you want, and it's like no rules to it. You kind of, it's not, you get like the four, like, oh, these are the four main objectives. You do them if you want, but otherwise just go everywhere and do whatever you want. Like The Witcher, you like look at your like mini map. It's like there's like 200 things on your mini map to do. I'm like, where do I start? Whereas Breath of the Wild goes, what's that over there? I'm gonna have a look what's over there. I'm curious what's over this hill. Or like it does what Elden Ring does really well as well. It's essentially an open world that doesn't hold your hand, and it just lets you just have an adventure and have fun and do what you want.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why I think it's fantastic. And it's on my list as well. I was about to spoil my list. It's on my list as well.
Okay. All right.
And I love it.
So
it's so good.
So I mean, looking at that top 10 list we've just gone through there.
Yeah.
I think it's a pretty strong list, to be fair.
Not bad.
You know, I don't agree with it. It's not my personal top 10 list, but
no Mario,
in terms
though.
of every game on that top 10, I think they all deserve a place there. Or would you? Is there any that you definitely think should not have made that list overall?
Last of Us. Last of Us, burn it down. Get rid of that shit. No, I'm kidding. I like Last of Us. I like Last of Us Part 1. I'm glad Part 1's on there, not Part 2. I would have been pissed off if it was Part 2. That would have annoyed me so much. I would have just stopped the podcast and just walked off if it was number 2. It was like, nah, not having that. Not talking about this. No, the top 10 also was like, I'll get the list up again because my screen froze for a second. Okay. So it was, let's have a look. Come back through the list again. Number 11 was Resident Evil 4, by the way. Fantastic game. I think it was the original Resident Evil 4.
Top 10.
Not your favourite, but what about the new Resident Evil 4? 2021.
No, wouldn't have made a top 10. No way.
Well, it's number 11.
Top 10. That wouldn't have made a number 11. No, it's a great game. It's a great game. It's not the best survival horror game I've ever played. You know, or best survival. What do they call it? Action horror. Not the best action horror either. You know, it's good. It's a great game. It's like a solid 9 out of 10. But yeah,
in breaking the top 20.
Number 13 was Ocarina of Time, by the way. I just looked it up. So Ocarina of Time was on there. It's the highest Zelda game that's not Breath of the Wild. And then Super Mario World is the number 1 Mario game, number 14. Anyway, back to the top 10. I just went up too far. Top 10. So it was Half-Life 2. We both were lukewarm on that, but I can see why it's there. Dark Souls, yeah, I get it. Totally. I agree. Portal 2, yes, I agree. That's worthy. Metal Gear Solid 1, yeah, we'll probably talk about that more in a minute because it's such a great game.
Yeah,
we should just change the podcast to the Metal Gear Solid podcast. I still think me you and Phil should just start a Hideo Kojima podcast. I think that's gonna happen at some point. Just talking about Metal Gear Solid and Death Stranding all the time. Number 6 is Mass Effect 2. Yeah, good game. I wouldn't put it in my top 10, but it's a good game. Witcher 3, I don't really know, but I would say yeah. If everyone says it's fantastic. I just realised there's no Grand Theft Auto in this top 10, or Red Dead Redemption, no Rockstar games. I'm shocked, actually.
It's wild. That's the only omission I thought. Wow, that's pretty crazy that there isn't like GTA 5 in there or Red Dead. You know, like those are the games that I think have the same kind of cultural significance as say like Mass Effect 2. Like to me, looking at the list and obviously not being
damn shit. There's no Elden Ring or no. no Skyrim or Fallout. I'm shocked.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the only one that stands out from this list, the only one that I think I don't know, is Mass Effect 2. And granted, I haven't played it, but you know, to be in the company of any of these games in the top 10 is high praise, you know. And I think putting any top 10 list together is going to be crazy, right? It's going to be nuts. And I think they're all heavy-hitting games. They're all big-dick games.
Sure.
They're games that you would not want to be coming out around at the same time. You know,
No, that's for damn sure.
No way.
I mean, Horizon 1 learned that the hard way, being launched in the Breath of the Wild. Learned that the hard way.
Yeah.
And then Horizon 2 learned it the hard way with Elden Ring. So, just, it's just one of those things.
Yeah.
So,
it is.
That is the all-time critics top 10. We agree with some of it, I think. I think my top 10 is going to be totally different to your top 10, which I'm really interested to see how this goes. So, what I thought we would do is we'd alternate. We'd just go my number 10, your number 10, my number 9, your number 9, my number 8, your number 8, like that back and forth. So, we're going to just go over our top 10 games of all time here, and then basically measure them up to the critics and see how, like, I guess how well we do with the critics. I don't know how cliche we are as people, as individuals. how an individual we are, and how boring we are.
How much we all feel exactly the same. Imagine our list were bang on.
I doubt it very much, but yeah.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen.
No, because I don't think you'll have my number 10 at all. I don't even know if you've played it. So should we just,
Let's dive in. Well, I suppose before we start, are there any rules that you imposed on your list?
Okay, so I didn't really. Well, yeah, I guess so. I only have one game of each series. I don't have multiple series in here. Also, I'm pretty sure Tears of the Kingdom will be on my top 10 list, but I'm not putting it in a list until I've completed it. I think it's a bit unfair to put it in so soon. As we were saying earlier, it's been voted the number 1 Zelda game of all time according to IGN. I'm like, damn, that's way too soon for you to be saying that. So I think Tears of the Kingdom is fantastic, and it probably will be on my list at some point, but I'm not putting it on there. And then, the only other rule is I only had one of each franchise, so I don't have, like, all the Metal Gear Solid games, or all the Mario games, or all the Zelda games. So, just I have one of each franchise personally. But did you have any rules on your one? Because you said you had some self-inflicted rules.
I do indeed. Yeah. So my rules with mine. I'm just looking at my list now, just to remind myself. So with my list, like you, I've only included one from each franchise. So I've had to pick, and I've also tried to bridge genre. So I tried to not go down just like here's all the same genre. I tried to mix it up to provide like kind of a best from each genre. There are some that are more action adventures than anything else. But I've tried my best to give a scatter shot because I know what my top 3 is.
Yeah.
Anything outside of that could change any given day. And even 2 and 3 on my list could change. Number 1 will never change on my list ever. But everything apart from that could change at any given day.
So my top 6, I would say, literally could be in any order. But at this moment in time, I've got them in this order. I was also going to mention I had no collections on here. So no Super Mario All-Stars, no Halo Master Chief Collection, because that's just cheating. Yes. That's just cheating. As much as it would just be the easiest answer ever, just to say Super Mario All-Stars is my number 1, and then Halo Master Chief Collection, because that's all the Halos and all the Mario games. Like, hey.
It's a good get out of jail clause, but definitely cheating.
Definitely cheating. I don't count it. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm going to ask you this now, because you were saying that you only got one of each franchise. Do you only have one Souls game?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, only one.
Because that's not the same franchise technically, but it's like the same genre.
It's cheating. Yeah.
But you can't.
It's too similar.
I tell a lie. There is one game series I have 2 versions of, but they're totally different games and totally different styles. And I'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Okay.
So,
sounds good.
Right. Do you want to go first, or shall I go first?
Up to you.
I want to go first because I think you know what my number 1 is, and I don't know what your number 1 is, so it'd be more interested to get the reveal because you already know where I'm going with mine, I think. So
Deal. Sounds good to me.
Okay. So my number 10 is Undertale.
Oh, great game.
It's absolutely fantastic game. Basic as hell, But like the music is fantastic, the characters are fantastic, the gameplay is just fun. Having multiple routes and like having a like genocide run and a pacifist run, and being able to play through the game multiple times and have different endings and different like different stuff happening. It's absolutely a fantastic game. I absolutely adore Undertale. Got all the achievements on it on Xbox.
Yeah, I did this. I did the same on PS4. I think no, I might play it on PS5. I came to it really late.
Okay.
Undertale, and like way later. And when I first started my YouTube doing reviews, I was using it as a way to be able to go and play games that I've never played before that I've missed, like classic games. And so that's the first time I played like Symphony of the Night,
that's a good game
and stuff. Oh, great game. And Undertale was one of them. And hell yeah, it's a game that I came out of the experience after playing it through multiple times and just thought, wow, we just don't get games like this very often.
Great choice. Great choice.
And it's my only indie game on the list. I did have previously. I had Shovel Knight, but it got bumped down the list when somebody else went in the list later on. So. But yeah, Shovel Knight was my only ever indie game, which I also adore. But yeah, it's my only indie game. Sorry, indie developers. I should be all. I'm a bloody cliche. I'm all AAA all the way. What is your number 10 then, Davey? I'm curious now.
My number 10, and this was a hard one because it was a choice between two games, but I guess maybe we'll save that for an honorable mention if we do get one.
Yeah, if you want to do, or you can mention it now if you want, the honorable mention.
Sure.
Because I did mention Shovel Knight.
My number 10 goes to Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 from 2009.
Ooh,
so it's a game that defined my entire teens.
Wow.
It's a game that I sweated. I played for years. I played way after Modern Warfare 3 had come out. I was still playing it. And it's a game that I forged loads of friendships with. It's one of those times where you get obsessed, and you have time. And so it was a game where I had thousands and thousands and thousands of hours into Modern Warfare 2. And the campaign's excellent. The Spec Ops mode is fantastic. And the multiplayer is just top notch. Excellent maps. Glitches that existed across that entire game that you could pull off in the middle of multiplayer were wild. And people still share clips now from like no scope clips or crazy YouTubes or whatever it is, throwing knife kills. It's just a game that is just a perfect shooter in my opinion. And so, yeah, it makes my number 10 slot.
I love it. Honestly, if you just change the name of the game, it's literally the same description I have for one of my games later on. Like literally the multiplayer game I spent thousands of hours in as a teenager. I think is perfect and like still go back to it and all that. So it's quite funny that because basically it's like you sound like you're describing one of my games, but it's not. But yeah, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 is such a good game. I love it. I mean, so you prefer it to COD 4, like Modern Warfare 1?
Yeah, well,
I think they're both really
back.
Good. I think they're both.
Yeah,
really
I went back only last year. I went on holiday for a week and took my PlayStation. And I could only play stuff that was installed. And before I left, I installed COD 4 Remastered. And so I ended up getting the platinum on it while I was away. And loved it. And it's great. COD 4 is fantastic. But for me, the multiplayer of COD 4 was never... It didn't grab me as much as Modern Warfare 2. Okay. And so for me, with that and the Spec Ops mode that came with that, I remember me and Phil playing Spec Ops till the cows come home when we were playing in a LAN party together in Phil's bedroom. And it just... And I got the platinum.
And that's a rare ass platinum, that one.
What's the one with... Yeah, what's the airplane mission at the end called? I can't remember.
Mile High Club.
Mile High Club. That was a bastard. that was such a hard mode. No.
Solid.
Oh my God! Yeah,
multiple nights together.
Yeah, such a good game. Hard. Oh my God, I was always more of a partial to like zombies and stuff than I prefer zombies personally, but I get it totally. I kind of fallen off the Call of Duty franchise bandwagon, but if it comes to Game Pass, I'm sure I'll be back in it. I'll be like wearing a Call of Duty shirt. And everyone's like, yeah, Xbox, yeah, Call of Duty. I'm sure that'll be happening when, like next year. It happens.
It's one of those things that everyone takes the piss, right? And they're like, oh yeah, he's not really a real gamer. He plays COD and FIFA. But I was one of those guys a couple of years ago that I was saying shit like that.
Me too.
But getting back into COD, it's like it's just so good.
Yeah.
It's just so good. And like the classic ones, like Modern Warfare 2 from 2009, just fully deserves being on my list as far as I'm concerned.
I like FIFA.
Obviously.
I don't care what people say. I like FIFA. And I'll play Madden occasionally as well. I don't care. I'll be a casual.
Between the two of us, we got all the casuals. We got all the casuals on our side.
So my number 9 is on your list as well, because you said this earlier. It is Metal Gear Solid Hindy. We've talked a lot about Metal Gear Solid, but such a good game. Oh my god, I just talk about it all day. Oh my god, like Liquid Snake and Fox Die and
the moments in that game from where you first encounter Cyborg Ninja. You've been seeing him slice off Ocelot's arm, and then you finally meet him in the lab with Hal Emmerich when he's Voticon. Hurt me more. And you just beat him with chaff grenades and punching him. Oh, so good.
Oh, such a good game.
Just that moment where you walk out from the gas, where you've been using the Nikita to blow up all the electric grates, and you walk out, and then the camera just zooms in on just bodies. It's like and like zooming into all these bodies with all cut and slashed, and the music's like,
oh my god,
and you're like, what the fuck is going on? And you walk down and just see like this guy suspended on a sword. It's in the air, he just drops. And then if you just go into first person and watch him, you see his breathing just going, and then he just stops. And you're like, oh, he's dead. Oh, he's dead. It's just like, oh, so good. And then you just walk into a massive fight. The fight with Rex at the end.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Cyborg Ninja saving the day, coming in clutch. Grey Wolf. Oh,
the raven on
Grey
my head
Fox.
craves blood. So much. So many good things.
So
Can you really find love on the battlefield?
So good.
Oh, I can't piss in his pants. Oh my god, and all like this is just like one of my Japanese animes, which I always say that all the time. Like that's like always comes out of my mouth. It's so good. Oh,
it's like it's just a perfect rose gallery. Absolutely perfect rose gallery.
Oh, yeah.
Great mystery underpinning it all. Fox Die. Yeah. Just everything about it. Is so good.
It's the perfect rose gallery because they tried to repeat it in multiple games and never hit the same levels. He's like, how do I top it? I don't. I'll just do the same characters.
This is the thing that was so wild about Metal Gear Solid 2 is that you play it through and you think, all these are really reminiscent of Metal Gear Solid 1, and then it's like, oh well, actually, the whole point of this game is to make you the next Solid Snake. So we tried to replicate Metal Gear Solid 1. You're like, it's kind of a cop out. But also blew my mind.
Metal Gear Solid 2 is also a fantastic game, and looking back at it now with all the stuff with like the internet and like, oh my god, like digital memory and AI and shit like that. I'm like, damn, he was ahead of his time. He's such a genius. Oh my god, yeah, such a good games. I love all of them. I want a remake now. Give me a remake. I'll pay you. I'll pay extra. I don't care. Just let me have it. I want it.
Whatever.
If it's on PS5 exclusive, I'm buying it. I'm buying it day one anyway. I don't care. I'm totally getting it.
I'm booking a week off. If it actually gets put out, Metal Gear Solid 1, I'm booking a week off. 100%.
Oh man.
And I'll tell my wife I'm working solidly in the office, so she has no idea.
Yeah.
And I will just literally close the door, lock it. I will not see my son. I'll see him in a week.
Yeah.
I might even just say I got a conference and just go and rent a hotel room, take the PlayStation. I cannot be disturbed. Phone off.
Yeah.
Me and Snake getting into it.
Your wife,
getting into some muck.
Your wife breaks in. It's like, I knew it. You're having it. And like, what? And you playing on your PlayStation.
Just me jacking it. Just sitting there at Psycho Mantis.
So good. Oh, it's such a good game. And I also was going to say, it's such a good game that it's like classic when you play Metal Gear Solid 4 and you go back to Shadow Moses and you have the flashback like that, just like, oh my god, the first game is so good. You could get nostalgic for the first game for like literally not that long after it on the fourth game. It's like
that
so
moment
good.
in 4 where he's like, it's time to go back to Shadow Moses, and then he just comes in and you land at the heliport. Oh my god. And just literally just going in, and I remember at the time I was playing it. I was playing on my PS3, and I was literally like welling up. I was so so into it. And you go around the corner, and where the CCTV camera always is, and it goes into that same camera angle as you walk past that camera, and the chaff grenades are right there. And I was like, oh my God, like everything is just perfect nostalgia. Just perfect nostalgia.
That game's so good.
One of the best moments of all time. And it's because it throws back to Metal Gear Solid 1. What a great game.
Yeah, so that's my number 9. What is your number 9?
My number 9, and it feels a little bit cheeky putting this in here, but I feel like I have to have it somewhere in the list, and I didn't really know where, and I didn't know which entry to choose. Ooh. I've gone for my number 9 is Smash Ultimate.
Ah.
And it was a tough one because I could go Smash 4. I played a lot of Smash 4. I played a lot of Brawl. Brawl's the one that got me into the series, and. Yeah, I mean, it's a game which is, I've played Smash Ultimate competitive, competitively ever since Brawl.
I'm going to spoil my number 8. My number 8 is Melee.
You put Melee in there, did you? Nice.
Yeah, because I have the most nostalgia for it. I think Ultimate is a better game, but I have the most nostalgia for Melee. It's not because, Melee, you could do all these cool finesse tricks and stuff. It's like, no, I was a kid and I was Luigi and I could beat up fucking Kirby. That's all I remember back in the day. Or going unlocking the big blue track and stuff like that. I used to love that back in the day. Oh my God. But yeah, Smash is just a fantastic series. I couldn't have put any of them on here. I really could.
Exactly the same thing. And Melee is probably the best made Smash. I don't think there's too much question in that. But it's a case of I didn't really know which one to choose, and so I've gone for Ultimate.
No, that makes sense. That's fair.
Yeah.
I don't blame you. I was tempted to put Ultimate myself, but I only went for Melee because I've got more nostalgia for it. That's literally the only reason. But yeah, I've been in tournaments with, as I said earlier, we met each other in tournaments. Smash 4, I probably actually did more tournament matches than Ultimate, but Ultimate is just such a good game. It's like I could have said Smash 4, but really Ultimate is just Smash 4.5, or it just improves on 4 in every way.
It's 4, but everyone's here.
Yeah, everyone is here, literally. Oh my God!
What an amazing trailer that was!
I was crying, man. I'm so emotional about the everyone was here trailer. I was sold on the game from just that. I didn't need any other new characters. Just everyone being there. Everyone.
Seeing Snake come back was just wild to me. My pop off was insane.
Yeah.
It was better than my. It was better than my pop off from when Cloud got announced for Smash 4, and my pop off was insane for that. Wild time. But yeah, interesting. So your number 8, we've already smashed through your number 8 already.
Yeah,
then
it's a
by
smash.
covering off Melee.
I'm trying to think what character I marked out. It's stupid, but I think the one I most probably marked out the most for was when they've revealed Captain Falcon on Smash 4. It was a Fire Emblem trailer, and then Falcon just stood there yeah, he's back! Falcon's back! I was so excited. It's like we were worried he wasn't going to show up. They were going to drop him from the game for some reason. And I was like, oh no, there he is. There he is, Falcon.
I tell you what was magic is in the era of Brawl, when Brawl was about to come out, they had a website that would get updated every single day. And I just started in an office job. I just started working for the Halifax, I think it was, in a little build site in my hometown, Caldecott, really quiet town. And so I'd have a lot of time just surfing the internet, doing nothing.
Yeah.
And every day it was going back on the Brawl website, seeing what's new. What new item are they showing off? What new stage, And seeing that and seeing the announcement that Sonic was going to be in there and stuff was just wild to me. And Sonic. Snake, obviously. Oh man, what a time. Smash just one of those things that it is a celebration of gaming, and there's a lot of jank. It's not a perfect game by any means. The net play is shit. Yeah. But in terms of being a platform fighter and it being a game that I can still jump onto at any point and love.
Me and you could go to tournaments and play it really seriously and go free stocks only or not Final Destination. What's the stage with the moving platform? The Animal Crossing one? I can't remember what it's called now.
Oh, Smashville.
Smashville only. Free stocks. It's I'm we could do that, or you could go all items on coin battle on Big Blue, 8 players. Let's go. It's one of those games you can have fun doing, super casual pissing about, or you can do it super seriously, and like it has both, and both work really well. So I mean, I adore Smash so much. As I said, I only picked Melee because I'm nostalgic for it, and I remember I got GameCube for my birthday, and it was like came out free. It was like out 3 months before my birthday, the GameCube. So we went around town everywhere trying to find the GameCube, and we led to like literally every single store. And it was a store. I can't even remember what the store was now. It was like GVC or something. And it's like,
Right.
oh, we've only got one left in stock, and it's in black. You're going to be okay with that? I'm like, hell yeah, it's in black. I want a black one. I like a Linkin Park rock and roll. Yeah, black console. Yeah. And I like got it set up. And then that was like the first like proper gaming session I remember having like as a kid, like literally up like 10 hours just non-stop playing Melee, like all night. Like falling asleep and still playing it with the controller in my hand. Like I still remember that so vividly, and it's like got so much nostalgia for Melee because I love Melee so much. It's such a good game. And then Ultimate, yeah, I've met friends through Ultimate. I bet you for Ultimate. I like playing, and it's just a fun, and it's a fantastically built game, and yeah, I adore it as well. I love all the Smash games, and if they make a new Smash game, I'll adore that too, probably.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how they can top it. I don't know how they're going to top it, but Ultimate 2 or Super Ultimate.
Have working online play. That would be a
nice.
start. And a training mode, a real training mode. That'd be good as well.
And Master Chief. That's all I want. That's the only character I want is Master Chief. It's gonna happen at some point, please.
Doom Guy. You want Doom Guy,
Doom
right?
Guy, man. Well, Doom Guy you could have as a Mii costume, which it's not really the same thing, but Sans, Doom Guy, Master Chief,
Kratos in there as
Shovel
well.
Knight. Yeah, Kratos is never going to happen. It's funny that Master Chief can happen, but Kratos can't. It's quite funny that like, that's the logic I have here. But there's a couple of Xbox characters in there, so it could happen. I don't know. I want Master Chief. That's all I want. I'll be happy. I said that before about characters, but yeah. It's not going to happen.
And then we get Minecraft Steve. So,
I like Steve.
Okay.
I do like Steve.
Well,
we'll get to that.
Shall I go on to with your number 8 being used up with Melee? Shall I tell you my number 8?
Yeah, go ahead.
My number 8, I've gone for a little game called Life is Strange.
Ooh.
So
never played it. I've heard great things.
Oh my god, it's one of those games. I'm not going to spoil anything, but if you like the kind of just narrative experiences, like The Walking Dead.
I was about to say, is it similar? Because I played
games.
Yeah, I played The Walking Dead Series 1. So is it like similar to that? You would say?
It is. It is. It's more. It's different. It's different because the story itself is just a story of two friends, right? Two girls who the one girl realizes, Max, she realizes that she has the power to control time, so she can rewind time. And what happens early doors is that there's a death, and she rewinds time, and that sets off a cacophony of different effects, different things that are going to happen in this town. So it ultimately leads up to there's the destruction of the town is going to happen, or you can divert it, and if you do, other things will happen. But it's the journey you go on, and the different ways that you try and escape your fate, that you see the story play out in different ways, and it's so well done. It's one of those gaming moments that multiple times you'll just have a really emotional beat happen, and the game is built all around music. Okay. And so what will happen then is you'll get like an indie band play. It's really somber, and the camera is just like, it would stay there as long as you want to listen to the track, and it would just like scan around the environment, or it would go on different scenic things, or a little bird in the distance or whatever. Yeah. And you just get so lost in the music that you're listening to and the emotion that you just felt. And it carries through the entire experience. And it's one of those games that you come out of it and you kind of feel a bit exhausted because you're like, wow, that was a ride. And it's just a pure experience. And for me, the second one, Life is Strange 2, isn't very good. The third one is incredible as well. Right. So it was kind of a tough choice, but for me, the story story in the first one just near perfect.
In the third one, she has the power of like emotions or something. I think I've heard.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
I have heard about these games. I've never played them though. So with the ability to change time and bring people back from the dead and all this stuff, Does it have like a final destination kind of like plot twist, like where like they're gonna die anyway, or anything like that, or does like you bring someone back from the dead like make massive bad things happen? I don't know.
So
without spoiling it, I suppose.
I won't give you any spoilers because it's a game that I think, even though
It's quite old now at this point, so I should be able to talk about it openly. I won't because I thoroughly recommend it.
So
Add it to the
yeah,
list.
you get moments where your choices that you make can have pretty crazy things. Now it's not so much like one of those narrative experiences like The Walking Dead is, where you're kind of stuck with that decision and that's the end of it. It's more of a case of, as the story progresses, you get to see like
There's a key moment, for example, where
one character, her father has died. Died in like a car accident years and years ago. And so Max, who's the main character, she decides to go into Chloe's past and to change that event from happening. And so doing that, then you kind of flash forward and you think everything's going to be hunky-dory, but something else has happened as a result of that, which is kind of worse. And so then you see that through and then you kind of reverse course and you think, all right, maybe we don't make this change. And so constantly trying to find ways to save your friend Chloe
from an eventual death,
and it's how you kind of experience that.
and then you get a choice at the end,
which
can have some pretty crazy
So,
consequences.
Do the
But
choices actually matter in this game? Because like stuff like The Walking Dead, you'd be
Yeah.
like, you need to save Ted or Bob, and then you save Bob, and then like the next episode, oh, Ted's still alive, and then 10 minutes later he gets killed by like a zombie.
Yeah, it's
So it didn't
dead
make any
anyway, yeah.
difference. It's like, I mean, the decisions actually make a difference then to the plot, or is it, or like, because it's like a funny thing that like the Telltale games, they're like, here's the choice, and then they branch back together. And then here's the choice, and it's like that. It's not really.
So it's more of a guided narrative
experience than a Telltale game. So
Ah,
instead of
okay.
kind of
branching off. It's more so a case of like your relationships would change with people and people remember stuff and there's all that kind of stuff. But it's very much more of you're kind of following along a main path story with then
kind of a big choice at the end,
which then can radically change it. And that's kind of what it is, but it's the experiences you go through and your kind of dialogue choices and your actions that you take that can make a big difference. But
Might try it.
there are still a lot of choices, but very different from The Walking Dead. It looks kind of similar on paper, but when you get under the hood of it, it's quite different. It's a different beast.
How hard is it to platinum?
Not hard. Not
I'll
hard.
play it I'll
It's
play it then.
great.
Easy platinum.
It's great because the way it works is you play it through normally, and that would get you like half the trophies, and the rest are collectibles. But it's got a collectibles
mode. So you can start it after completing the game.
game, and all that does is it would skip like every cutscene, it would skip every single bit of dialogue, and you just go into those areas to be able to get those collectibles.
That's cool.
Makes it it's great. It means that you can just play through the first time, just enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
Second time, you can whip through it in no time at all and just get those collectibles.
Great little inclusion. Really
That's
good.
the annoying thing I find in a lot of games where you want 100% it and you're just like, I missed the collectible and I have to do a whole run again. It's like, oh god.
Yeah, this didn't like
I
that. This
agree.
is really
Oh,
good
good.
for that.
And you can get them. They've been
Remastered now
Nice.
onto PS5 and Xbox. So if you get spare time, and this is the hard thing, especially with like Tears of the Kingdom, but if you do get spare time, 6 hours, not even that, and you'll be done with it. And
Like
it's just a great game.
Like Captain America, I'll add it to the list. Just
Yes,
like on the
yes.
list.
Yes,
The
yes.
list of games is like, oh. I've got such a massive backlog of games I need to go back and play, but I will, if I get a chance, I'll play it for sure, definitely. That'll be on my list. Would you like to know what my number 7 is? Ooh.
I would adore to know your number 7.
Number
Yeah, go on.
7 is my soul's game on this collection. It is Elden Ring.
Oh, great choice.
I love
Great
Elden
choice.
Ring so much. And as I was saying earlier when we were talking about Dark Souls, I'm a wizard. I can stay back and just fire laser beams, and I can get wolves to attack everything, and I can survive, and it makes my life so much easier. I beat Malena, and I didn't have to do, like, 100% timing, like perfect like parries and stuff like that, or like perfect dodges. I just took my time, but I love the game. I thought it was absolutely fantastic, and I like the fact that you can play it and make your life a little bit more easy by just Kamehameha and everything, just blasting everything with your wand. Such a good game. It's the
I
best
think at the
open
end of
world
the day,
game.
it's that creativity, isn't it? It's that creativity and being able to go in and do it however you want to do it. And there's the pure way of doing it, I suppose. Where you go through and you sword and shield or whatever, and
dodge everything and have that kind of
more traditional Souls-like experience. But you don't have to do it that way. And no matter what way you take to get to the end, it's your personal journey.
Exactly.
And what a journey it is. What a
It's
journey
such
of
a
discovery that
beautiful
you
game.
have along that game.
I love that game so much. It was my favorite game of last year, obviously, as well. And all right, Pip. It's my favorite open world game since Breath of the Wild, and probably my second favorite now after Tears of the Kingdom. I mean, it's such a good game. It does everything that we were saying earlier about Breath of the Wild. It says, hello. Why don't you sit down? You've really distracted me. Yeah. Cool, I'll say it now. Yeah, it does everything that Breath of the Wild does well, but then also gives it like the Dark Souls treatment. And it's like, whenever you think the game is like, you think you've seen everything, you open up the map and it's like another massive section, and it just keeps going. It just keeps going and keeps going and it keeps going. Like you got like the underground and you got the extra sections and just more bosses and like everywhere you go, there's something interesting and different. It's just such an amazing game. I love it so much. I've only played it once though. I need to go back and replay it at some point. But I just loved it so much. It was such a fantastic game.
Well, this is the only issue for me with Elden Ring is that it's such a time investment to be able to see it through because it's long. That it's quite difficult to want to dive back in and just say, yeah, do you want to do another run?
Because you've got to put weeks or at least a week
away to be able to see it through. So
For sure.
it's the reason why it came number 2 on my games of the year for last year.
Yeah.
Phenomenal game.
I adore it. It's
Deserved game of the year last year, 100%.
for sure. I absolutely adore it, and as I say, it's the first Souls game I've managed to finish. I've got all the Souls games. I got Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, Sekiro, Bloodborne. I've never got that far into them. I go about halfway through and I get stuck and hit a wall. The beauty of Elden Ring is if you hit a wall, you just find something else to do. You just go off and explore and go and find a cave or something. And there's always something to do. And it's like if you watch tutorials online, you can figure out the optimum builds and the best items to find. And yeah, I love it. It's so good. Even I've got fond memories of just literally just going on that hill and killing all those frog people. Over and over and over again
They
for
deserve
2
to
hours.
die.
Just use the sword that swipe the shoots a fire across everything and just kills them all in one go, and then go back to the flame and then just keep farming them for an hour and just get unlimited money. It's such a good.
The way I think about it, frog people shouldn't deserve to exist.
No,
so if anything,
horrible.
you're probably doing them a favor by
Culling
culling
them down.
Yeah, definitely.
Cull them out. Cull them out.
There's a reason why there's not wolves in the UK. We culled them out.
Yeah.
Frog people
Should have gone a long time ago. So I think you're doing God's work.
So yeah, Elden Ring is my number 7, and I'm pretty happy with it, and I love it so much. And yeah, I
great choice.
Yeah, it's my most modern game on the list as well. Just that's kind of a spoiler because, as I said, I'm not adding anything more recent. Anything more recent than that, I feel like I need a bit more time to think about. You know what I mean? As I said, Tears of the Kingdom, I think will be in my top 10, but I'm not putting it in there for at least another year until I've had time for it to mull over and digest. Simmer, yes.
Yeah.
That's a good word. Simmer. We'll go with that. Yeah. So, what is your number 7?
My number 7 is Resident Evil 1, the remake for GameCube. Yeah,
came out in 2002.
Very nice.
If memory serves.
So it was a full 6 years since the original game launched. And my God, in those 6 years, graphics had advanced beyond comprehension. The jump between a PS1 and a GameCube was insane.
It was, yeah.
And it's a game that, to me, summarizes why the survival horror genre is such a great genre.
Because you've got everything that you could ever imagine in this remake. It's a perfect remake in my eyes.
It takes what the original game did, It adds additional story. It adds additional files.
Yeah.
It adds a brand new enemy type that wasn't in the original in terms of the Crimson Heads.
Crimson
And
Heads,
it adds additional choice because it means that every zombie you kill.
Oh, frozen.
You then have the choice of. Oh, you frozen?
Sorry, you froze for a second. Are you okay? Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I'm good.
What happened there?
Everything's good my end.
Okay, good.
All right, I'll redo my sentence so you can edit it in. So for me, what it does is it just adds additional choice, right? So you get every enemy you kill, the zombie will remain dead. And then if you want to permanently kill them, then you have to carry 2 additional items on you. You have to carry a kerosene, which is like gas basically, and a lighter. And without those 2 things, you cannot permanently destroy a zombie. And if you leave it there, what happens is it would just get up and it becomes a Crimson Head, which does more damage, takes more damage to kill, fast as shit, and they are terrifying. And so it means that if you've already got a limited inventory of, say, 6 pieces, if you're playing as like Chris, and then you're having to take 2 of those up to be able to have the ability to eliminate an enemy entirely. So you have even more choice, even more reason to go back and to plan your trips and to plan which enemies you kill, which you leave alive in a given area. And that is why Resident Evil 1 to me is the perfect survival horror experience, because it just relies on you to plan, to think ahead, and to make sure that every decision you make, every moment-to-moment decision is racked with fear and tension that you may have messed up. That maybe I should have brought that extra heal. Maybe I should have brought that shotgun with me instead of taking that kerosene. Maybe I shouldn't have killed the enemy in the first place and just run around them.
Maybe I shouldn't have saved my limited reels of tape.
Yes,
oh my God.
yeah, maybe I shouldn't have. Maybe I should have saved recently and I haven't saved for 3 hours. Those kind of things that just bug you. And when you get it wrong and you mess it up and you die or you lose your progress, you know it's on you and your decisions you made. And for me, it's infinitely replayable, holds up incredibly well, and the fixed camera angles, the music, everything about it is just a near perfect experience.
I love it.
And so it comes in at my number 7.
Yeah.
But definitely the high point of the genre.
That's fair. I mean, I never finished Resident Evil 1 because I was too much of a wuss. I was like, oh, it's scary. But I was saying about my friend Dean Smash Fiend. He sped read it before, and I used to watch him speed read it all the time, and it was just always fascinating to see how speed running that game was absolutely fascinating. Seeing how quickly you could do it. He used to finish it in under 2 hours. It was just absolutely mind blowing. It's such an interesting game. But yeah, I adore it as well. I think it's a really great game. I've never finished it, as I said. The Jill sandwich thing makes me laugh every time. I don't know why. It's just so silly. It's just a classic line. I love it. It's such a classic line. Yeah, I mean, Resident Evil 1 and like Metal Gear Solid, like the first type of games that really bring in like the cinematic style, which is now really commonplace in gaming. But it was like that they like revolutionized it. Really, they like really made that a thing. So I appreciate it for sure. Yeah, I mean, my favorite Resident Evil is Resident Evil 4, but I know you're not a huge fan of that one. But I said I prefer the remake, actually, to the original, but there you go. So, maybe.
Yeah, remake's great. Remake's great. Yeah. You know, it's up there in the conversation when it comes to Resident Evil, but for me, Resident Evil 1, Resident Evil 2 original, Resident Evil 3 original, they're all just what an amazing trilogy that was on PS1. You know, big heavy hitters, big swinging dicks coming in, Capcom bringing the goodies like they always do. Yeah, absolutely incredible.
But what is your number 6 of this?
Oh, this one, I'm not sure how you're gonna react to this one. I'm not sure. I'm hoping that you'll be. My number 6 is Minecraft.
All right, okay.
I absolutely adore Minecraft. I played it before all the kids got a hold of it and ruined it. Those damn kids! No, but it's just like, it's the ultimate... Like, we were talking about, like, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom being the ultimate open world game, but Minecraft really is the ultimate open world game. There's so much... Like, the world is infinite, and there's like infinitely generated. It's like just exploring. It's just so much fun and building stuff, building building your own house and blowing up your friends' houses, and building like wine carts that go for miles and miles and miles, or exploring like dungeons, or like going into the Nether or the End. Oh, I just adore Minecraft. It's such a fantastic game, and it's just so simple, but it works, and it's just it's beautiful. I love Minecraft. It's just one of the it's just the most. It's like a sandbox. It's like Lego. It's like everything. It's just the most fun. It's just a really fun game, and like I love Minecraft. It's like the first proper survival game I really got into. Like I've played like Grounded since and stuff like that, and some other games that are similar to it. But I feel like Minecraft is my favorite one. I just love the world and the characters, I guess. But I mean, I like the creatures and stuff.
I get you.
The setting and the music, like the ambient music and just everything about it. It's just so simple, but it just works, and I absolutely adore Minecraft, and that is why it's my number 6. Do you have any thoughts on Minecraft, or?
Do you know, Minecraft just passed me by, and I've never played it. And I know that my time that I haven't played it is coming to an end, because my son is already starting to watch Minecraft videos. Yeah. So he's coming up 5. So I think give it another year, and I'll be playing Minecraft. I think that's probably how it's going to go.
It is a fun game, to be fair. I know it has its reputation of being a kid's game. I get that, but it really is a fantastic game, and I think you'd enjoy it if you give it a chance.
I think I will. Yeah, I mean, I love survival-based games. I'm a huge fan of like Subnautica 2, The Forest, like all these different kind of survival games. Yeah. And I know I'd enjoy Minecraft if I played it.
Yeah.
I just haven't played it, and it's kind of at this point, it's kind of a blessing, because I think it would take over my life. You know, I'd be building a massive dick fortress.
Yeah.
And you know, it would just be the way it is. I'd just call it the Big Schlong. And walk in there, have an elevator going all the way to the top, and that would be it. And then, you know, you could step out the hole at the top of the dick, and you've got a whole kingdom up there, of stuff.
Do you know what Minecraft is for me? It is the comfort food of video games. It is like, what do I play now? I got a list of 400 games. I got a massive backlog of games. You know what? I'm just going to play Minecraft for 2 hours. And then they end up playing it for like 6 or 7. Or like I'll have like a mass... And there'll be like a stage where I'll play it non-stop for like 2 weeks. And then I'm going to play it again for a year. And then I'll come back to it and I'll play it non-stop for another 2 weeks. It's just one of those games that is just infinitely replayable, and it's just fun. And you can get lost in it and spend hours in it and just lose track of time. It's such a fantastic game. I love Minecraft. I adore it.
Great choice.
I'm sure you'll enjoy it when you play it with your son. You should make like a tree house or something with him in that. I'm sure you would enjoy that. I think that's a rad thing to do. I used to do it with my nephews. I used to make bases and stuff with them on Minecraft, and they used to have so much fun with that. It's such a fun co-op game as well.
The time is coming. I think I've got a year. And then that would be my life. Then would be Minecraft.
At least it's not Astrobot anymore.
That's true. 80 hours. My son has played that game. Can you believe 80 hours of Astrobot? The game takes like 4 hours to platinum.
I mean, I've even got a platinum on
it. I love that. I love Astrobot. One of the best games on PS5, in my opinion. But Jesus Christ, 80 hours is enough to make you sick of any 4-hour game.
There's much more you can do in Minecraft, so I'm sure you'll have more fun with that, hopefully.
Yes. Yeah. So, I think you're right.
So what is your number 6?
My number 6 came up on the top 10 list of games earlier, but it is Bloodborne. Coming in at number 6, yeah. So it was my first ever FromSoft Souls experience, my first ever one. And it's the one that you cut your teeth on. So the way I think about Souls is the Souls games, after you get the hang of it, they're not that hard. They're really not. They're quite easy. But getting the hang of it is an arduous experience. And I remember being in Bloodborne right at the start and dying in that one area, and I remember so well, the run up towards that first optional boss, and dying there at least 10 hours of death in that one area, over and over and over again, until it just suddenly clicks. And the moment it does, you just cane through it.
Yeah.
And it was one of those experiences where my eyes were just opened. That, oh my God, I love this genre. Oh my God, I love this. and that was it then. From that, I then went back to Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, and then Dark Souls 3 was only around the corner. So it was a great year, that, where I could just play through like all of them in one go. And yeah, absolutely fantastic. It's the settings incredible.
The world of Bloodborne is probably my favorite Souls like world. I think the setting is fantastic, like the Gothic.
Gothic Lovecraftian kind of horror, cosmic horror to it all.
Beautiful.
So good.
Yeah.
The co-op's incredible. The optional areas you can go to, like going to Castle Canehurst for the first time. All these different places that just they burn into your mind, and you know, years later you'll look back and think, wow, that was a moment. And it's no wonder it's so revered and so high up on that top 10 list. Is an incredible experience.
Fair enough.
We're getting big ones now.
We're
Getting
into the top five. Woo. 2 hours into the podcast. I think this is going to be a record length podcast, and I love it. We're going to go 5 more each, or 10 altogether. So, yeah, I'm excited. Okay, so this is my number 5. And this is Super Mario Bros. 3 on the original NES. The best Mario Bros. Game. I know a lot of people will say World's better. You could say that. World's a great game. But Super Mario Bros. 3 is my favourite. I absolutely adore Mario Bros. 3. The warp whistles, the worlds, the music. I like the art style, and that's how I always think of Mario, is that sprite style. You know, if you like, because everyone has like a picture of Mario in their head. A lot of people will say World. To me, Super Mario Bros. 3 is the definitive Mario. That was the game that got me into video games. That's the reason I wanted to do games design in university. Like when I was in primary school, it would be like, "What do you want to be when you're older?" "I want to be a footballer. I want to be an astronaut." And I'd be like, "I want to make video games." And they're like, "What? What do you mean you want to make video games?" I'm like, "Yeah, I want to make video games." Video games? I'm old, so no one knows what that is.
That's not gonna carry on.
Exactly.
That's a fad.
I mean, kids these days are probably a lot of them would say that, but when I was young, no one would want to be a games designer. That's why I wanted to get into games design, was because of Mario. I'm like, I could see, like, oh, if you put this plant here, or this pipe here, or this block here, you could do like, and that's what Mario Maker is such an amazing game as well, because that's literally what I wanted as a child, was my own the own ability to make Mario games. Like, I adored Mario Maker. But yeah, but Super Mario Bros. 3 it's my favorite. It's one of the first games I ever played. I have massive nostalgia for it. It's the reason I'm a gamer, and I absolutely adore it. And I'll always go back to it, and I'll always enjoy it. As I told you the other day, it was the FA Cup semi-final, I think, and I was waiting for it to start, and I literally just got the Switch and played Super Mario Bros. 3 from start to finish in like an hour, just on my Switch, and it's like, this is the best experience ever. Still holds up. Absolutely adore Super Mario Bros. 3, and it's my favorite 2D Mario game of all time.
Ooh, interesting. Well, yeah, this is the thing for me. Mario for me in 2D. I was a Sega kid. I was a ride or die Sega kid as well. So my mates had a NES, my mates had a SNES, and I used to look at them like scum. Because I was Sonic ride or die, and that was it. You know, I was playing Golden Axe, I was playing Streets of Rage, and I was looking over at those kids playing the, you know, Star Wing or Star Fox or whatever it is, and Lilac Wars, and I was thinking, nah, losers, you don't know what you're getting. We got blast processing over here. Little did I know years later that the SNES and the NES have way better than the Mega Drive. But
yeah.
You know,
are you still a Sonic main in Super Smash? Are you still playing Sonic as the character?
I do. Respect. Yeah, he's still my go-to. He's still my boy.
Fair
so,
enough.
You know, it's
Sonic 2 is Sonic 2
should have probably made my list.
It's like that game that is the same way that Mario is for you. You
know, I've got Sonic 2 on my phone, and I'll often, if I got a spare couple of minutes, I'll just play Sonic 2. And for me, Mario, I didn't really get into Mario until Galaxy. So I got into Mario quite late. Wow. And then it's ever since my son has been born, he is obsessed with Mario. He's like the biggest Mario fan ever. He adores Mario. And so since he's been old enough to hold a controller, we've been playing Mario. So we've played through all of Odyssey together. We've done all of Super Mario. What do you call it? What's the one where you're all running around together and there could be like 4 of you on screen?
3D World. Or
3D World, yeah,
Super
3D
Mario
World,
Bros.
the Bowser's Fury.
Yeah,
so we played
good
through
fun.
all those. He's watched me play through 64 and Sunshine and all of them. So for me, I prefer Mario in 3D. That's how I
fair.
prefer Mario. And 2D Mario, I always just get fucked on it. I'm terrible at it.
Oh, really?
I'm really bad. I don't have that childhood kind of built-in nostalgia and skill. And so I'm just terrible at them. I'm really bad. I've played Super Mario 3 and I've enjoyed it, but it's a hard experience for me. I'm not very good. I'm not very good at all.
I did it in one run earlier. I was like, they still got the reflexes. Still remember how to play it. Still remember where to go.
Terrible.
Oh, I love Super Mario Bros. 3. Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna probably upset you by saying this, but there's never really been a good Sonic game. I'm just gonna be honest. They're not well designed games.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Well, hold on now.
It's a lot of trial and error. That's the problem with Sonic. It's a lot of trial and error. It's like, I remember you have to memorize paths and stuff. You know. I don't know.
Well, a couple of them are good, right? So Mania is great.
Mania's
Generations is great.
Mania's good.
I mean, for me, Sonic 1, 2, and 3, but that's probably nostalgia. And I enjoy Adventure. I really enjoy Adventure.
Okay.
I know that's wild, but I remember playing that on the Dreamcast and just being completely in love with it.
It's funny.
But yeah, they're certainly not on the level of Mario. That is for damn sure.
It's funny.
Music's better.
If this was like 20 years ago, it'd be funny because I'd be doing the Nintendo podcast, you'd be doing a Sega podcast. If it was like 23 years ago.
Yeah, that would have ended.
We're still on opposite sides. We're still on opposite sides of the console wars.
just my podcast would have ended in like 2001. That's the only difference.
Yeah, that's true. Still on opposite sides of the war.
Well,
even though I keep saying they should buy Xbox should buy Sega, so I'm being a bit of a hypocrite there. I keep saying that.
Yeah, you want Sonic.
I want Sonic.
This.
Yeah, I do.
You want it for yourself.
I want the back catalogue of like amazing Sega games, and I want JRPGs, and I want a Japanese like footprint on Xbox. That's my that's my feeling.
What you want is Sonic over this. You can just cripple his legs and he'll never run again. That's what you want. I see straight through it. Lewis.
So what is your number 5?
Well, you were taking it to classics, and I'm taking it to a classic as well.
Ooh.
So my number 5 is a little game that came out on the PlayStation 1 and completely changed everything, and that was Final Fantasy VII.
Ooh.
So. Okay. Coming in at my number 5, it was a game that I remember getting on my PlayStation 1, and there was one other kid who played Final Fantasy VII, and that was it. That was our entire school year, was talking through how we beat the different weapons, what we used, what weapons we had, did we get Knights of the Round, how did you get your golden chocobo? And it was just one of those experiences where I learned a lot. I cut my teeth on Final Fantasy VII. You get into the Northern Crater at the end of the game, and it says to you, as soon as you come here, you can't go back. And I got in there at level 54, and I was way underpowered. I quickly learned that Sephiroth was never going to be beatable. Like, never. I had no items. I went in there with basically nothing, didn't think it through, and it was just a hard lock. And it was like, right, well, let's start the game again. Yeah. And the second time through, even better, beat the game, and I thought, I could do a third. I could do a third time. Each time being like 120 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, third time. Let's do it. But that was just the time back then. I had the time as a kid. No other games. Let's just play. And, having like 4 discs that it came on was wild. The cutscenes were amazing. The music, Cosmo Canyon to me, just gives me the biggest nostalgia bump ever. It's just an incredible area. And, of course, Golden Saucer. which we probably will be seeing this year in the remake, which I can't wait to go back there. So, yeah, just such an incredible moment in gaming. My first ever JRPG, and yeah, just exceptional game.
I never finished. Final Fantasy again. Final Fantasy VII is one of those ones that's on my bucket list. I have it on my Switch. I have it on my Xbox. I have it on Steam. I've played the first hour up to like the first what's it, the robot boss.
Yes, in the reactor.
Yeah, the reactor. Beat that, and then I had to stop playing it. Same thing as happened with The Witcher. I don't know why. I just never get after it much further than that. And I know it's a really good game because my cousins were obsessed with it. It was my cousin's favorite game of all time, and she always used to talk to me about how much it was like the best game ever. And if they ever remake it, it'll be a perfect game with like 10 out of 10 and all this. Like, yeah, okay, fine. But yeah, I just remember as a child that she would always be like on about how great Final Fantasy VII was, and yeah, I know it's a great game, which just I've never beaten it, and yeah, maybe I should go back to playing it. I'm not super into JRPGs. That's probably what it is.
That's fair.
I mean, should I tell you what my number 4 is? Because it kind of ties into what I was about to say. So it's my favorite JRPG of all time, and it was the game I used to play as a child a lot, and how I have the same experience you have with Final Fantasy. It's Pokemon Red.
Great game.
I absolutely adore Pokemon. That's like I say Red, even though it's probably the worst in the series. They probably Fire Red probably better, and they've improved on it every single generation. But my nostalgia is Pokemon Red. I'm sorry, it just is. And I would play that for days and days and days. And as you said, playing it, restarting it, and starting over and over and over again. I've done that. I had like 2 copies of Red because I borrowed one off one of my friends and he never got it back off me. So I had 2 copies. So I just played for him over and over again. And I had Blue as well, and my sister had Yellow. And I was just obsessed with them. I Mewtwo, like a team of Mewtwo's, just to be like put it in Pokemon Stadium, and I love Pokemon so much. It's such a good game, Pokemon Red. And I've played every Pokemon game since because I'm a shill and I'm an idiot. Even if they're broken, I'll still buy them. I'm like, yeah, everyone says Scarlet and Violet are broken. Here you go, I'll buy them. Take my money, Nintendo.
Well, this is the thing. Back in our youth, you'll struggle to find somebody who didn't play Pokemon, right? Yeah. And I was a Blue guy, ride or die Pokemon Blue, and Pokemon Blue still my favorite Pokemon to this day. Yeah. The original 151 still the best. Same. They cannot be beaten.
Gen 1 for life. I don't care.
100%, 100%. And I adored it. I've played it through countless times. In fact, if I had time, which obviously we've been going long anyway, so I'm not going to.
That's fine.
In that drawer, is my Game Boy Color with Blue in it, and it still has battery power.
My Game Boy's in my drawer over there, into my PS5 as well. So that's funny.
I was having a look at my team the other day. It wasn't long ago. I was like, I wonder what team I had on this run. And I played that game to death. Yeah. And like you say, putting it into Pokemon Stadium on the N64 was revolutionary.
Oh, yeah.
And to be able to settle those playground debates without having to have, the cable between you both.
Yes.
To be able to put it onto a TV and to be able to play and see your team come into Pokemon Stadium.
So good.
It was just one of those amazing experiences as a child. What a great game. What a great game.
I just remember I went on a school trip, away, I went on a week away somewhere, and basically I just remembered the coach trip more than the actual vacation, because I just literally played Pokemon with all the kids, all the other kids my age. It's like, how do I get this Pokemon? How do I do this Pokemon? And it was like, I want Gyarados, and I was like, I remember spending the whole coach trip just walking around trying to level up my Magikarp, and then I got a Gyarados. I'm like, yes, this is the best Pokemon ever. I am unbeatable now with Gyarados on my side.
Well, who is your favorite Pokemon, and which starter?
Gyarados is my favorite. Gyarados is my favorite Pokemon of all time.
Great choice.
Because I just love it. I just love the juxtaposition of Magikarp being completely shit, and then Gyarados being like final boss, world-ending, cool dragon thing. It was just like, oh yeah, sick. I love it.
Great.
The original 151 starters, I love all 3 of them. I really find it hard to pick. I normally go with Squirtle because I like Blastoise, but then as I just said, Gyarados is my favorite Pokemon. It's kind of stupid to have 2 water Pokemon. I need more type coverage. As an adult, I need more type coverage than that. I was like, that doesn't seem smart having 2 water types. I need to spread my type coverage out. But yeah, probably Blastoise. But everyone loves Charizard. Everyone loves. Well, not everyone loves Venusaur. A lot of people don't like Venusaur, to be fair. But I like him.
My favorite, and my starter is Bulbasaur.
Oh,
Bulbasaur,
nice.
always who I started with. Always started with
Bulbasaur's
Bulbasaur. Yeah, absolutely love him.
So
favorite Pokemon, quite a hard one. I know my favorite legendary bird is Articuno.
Oh,
always loved Articuno.
Nice.
And so always would have an Articuno on the team, 100% guaranteed.
I like Zapdos more myself. I like those pointy Zapdos.
Cool.
Zapdos is just so cool.
Sick.
It's like,
Sick
he's
design.
metal as hell.
Yeah, it's super cool. The one that was always like, he's just a bit of a dick. It was Moltres. Moltres always looked shit, I thought.
That's true, yeah.
Like Flareon, I always thought Flareon looked shit as well. Whereas Jolteon looks sick.
Jolteon again, yeah. I like all the pointy.
Yeah,
Jolteon and Zapdos, yeah, those were my jam back in the day. Oh man,
hell yeah!
I love Pokemon so much. Yeah, I've literally played every Pokemon game since launch, and I have no shame. Even if the games are broken, I'll still bloody play them.
See, that's where you and me differ. So after Blue, I didn't play another Pokemon game until my girlfriend at the time had Pearl.
Fair.
And so I played Pearl. I loved it, absolutely adored it. And then didn't pick anything up until they had what was the one with Kyogre on the front, the remake that they did with Kyogre.
Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby, I think they were called.
I had the blue one of that had Kyogre on, and
Sapphire.
my wife had the other version. And so, and since then, I haven't played another Pokemon.
That's fair.
My wife has since she's got Switch, and she's got them all. So she plays them all the time. And so I kind of live vicariously through her.
That's
so
fair.
I'll have a look. I'm like, what's your team? Where's Bulbasaur? I'm not having Bulbasaur, mate. He's shit. What? Divorce.
Oh man, I love it. Yeah, like I kind of had the same experience as you actually. I say I played every one, but as a child I played 1 and 2, and then I was too cool for Pokemon. Then in my teenage years, like yeah, man, Linkin Park, yeah, rock and roll, yeah. And then I was like, I'm too cool for Pokemon, man. And then went back on the DS version when I was in college, which was Diamond and Pearl. So I kind of skipped over Generation 3, but I've gone back to it since. But back in the day, I skipped right over it, yeah. But yeah, I love Pokemon, adore it, and I will always love Pokemon because I'm a big child and I'll never grow up. I don't care.
You never will.
I'll never grow out of Pokemon, ever. You're gonna.
They've got you.
I can't wait to show my nephews Pokemon stuff when they're a bit older. They understand it. Well, my nephews already love Pokemon. We got them like a Pikachu outfit and like an Ash Ketchum outfit and stuff like that. But I mean, like when they're old enough to appreciate it, I can't wait to just like. This is the Gyarados I grew up with when I was 20 years. When I was your age, you can have it. It's like
you just be like, oh, let's have a look at your team. You're like, oh, I'll give you a quick battle. Just put them in the ground. Shit team.
You
don't know about team synergy. You got nothing on this team. There's not even a rock Pokemon on here. Scum.
Exactly. But yeah, Pokemon is my number 4. I lost track where we were. My number 4. So what is your number 4?
Right, we're getting into the big ones now. We're getting into the tough ones, the ones that for me are either generational games, or
earlier I said about in the different orders. So this is what I meant earlier. So I would say Minecraft, Super Mario Bros. 3, Pokemon Red, and the next 3. Literally any of them could have been my favorite game of all time. I change my mind all the time. Pokemon Red used to be my favorite game of all time, like undisputed. And then as I've grown up, I've changed my mind multiple times. So I thought I'd mention that because you're saying about how these are big games. Literally, these are my top 6, and they change whatever mood I'm in.
Yeah. So my top 5 could easily switch around. But number 4, I've gone for BioShock.
Ooh.
I've gone for the trip to Rapture.
Thank you kindly.
And my God, what an experience! And it sounds daft to even have to say this, right? But kind of spoiler for BioShock here. Yeah. Going in and hearing Andrew Ryan's speech, where you're beating him to death, and he's saying a man chooses, a slave obeys as you beat him to death. It is just one of the best moments in gaming. That and going into the room and realizing what's happened to you and how you've been obeying everything that's ever been told to you. It's just one of those twists in gaming that is just mind-blowing. I remember I was on lunch from work. I had an hour for lunch, and so I got home, played a bit of Bioshock, and that moment happened, and I had to go back to work, and I was so distracted all afternoon because all I could think about was, oh my god, no wonder I got these tattoos of these chains on my wrists. Oh my god, I can't believe all this happened to me. It's just one of those games that is both amazingly imaginative, that's influenced so much that's come from it. And I know it was hugely influenced by System Shock, but to me, it's outside of the end boss, which is terrible. It's a perfect game. Fair. And I went back and platinumed it on the remaster for PS4 only about 18 months ago, and it holds up incredibly well. Just a pure treat from start to end.
I've played it a couple of times. I've never finished it. I need to go back and play it more. Again, on my bucket list. It's one of those games that when I was younger, it just scared the shit out of me. I'm honestly like, Big Daddy's
scary,
fucking terrifying. I'm like, no way. I'm like, nah, I'm gonna play Forza instead instead of getting chased by Big Daddies. Oh, Big Daddies are scary. Yeah, I need to go back and play it because I've played similar games since, and I've really enjoyed them. Like Prey, apparently is very similar to Bioshock. The new Prey, the arcade one.
Yeah.
And
I've
like,
good
I played a bit of Bioshock 3 as well, so I definitely need to go back and play the first one. And that Judas game looks absolutely incredible. That's coming out by the same developer. I can't remember his name now.
Ken Levine.
That's it.
Putting out
God's work every time.
If only he put it on the Vita like he said he was going to do. God damn.
Oh, could have saved the best handheld ever made. But never mind.
Never finished Bioshock, but we were saying earlier about Half-Life 2, how it had environmental storytelling and stuff like that, and it's like first-person shooter. I feel like this was the next level after Half-Life 2, yeah, for sure. And
Audio diaries.
I totally appreciate it. I think the game is fantastic. I just haven't finished it. I need to go back and play it because it's just a fantastic world, fantastic setting, everything about it. It's just like chef's kiss.
It's crazy to think that without Bioshock, having audio diaries would just not exist. You know, it is so wild how it just introduced this entire thing of actually you can tell a story about supplemental characters through pickups in the environment, and you can walk around and listen to it. And it was just mind blowing at the time, and they're so well acted and it's so well done. The environmental storytelling in that game is just next level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was saying about Minecraft's one of my favorite games of all time, I just always used to adore making my own version of Rapture, like just going underwater and building an underwater town, and this is the best. Like having my own version of Rapture in Minecraft is like the best ever, because everyone's just like, where the hell's your base? It's like, it's under the water, bitch. Like, it's so good. It's perfect. And you get like squid stuck in the wall and stuff, but it's still amazing. Have my own version of Rapture. Great. But yeah, no, I gotta go back. It's another one on those lists that like, so Witcher 3, Life is Strange, Bioshock. What was the other one? It was like writing long list.
FF7.
FF7.
Yeah, it's getting long. This list's getting long. Yeah.
FF7. Yeah. Oh, but yeah, I think that's a great choice, even though I haven't finished it, so I can't really judge too much. But for everything I've heard about that game, you know, chef's kiss. I've heard it's fantastic, and yeah, I'm gonna play it. I'm determined. I got a massive list of games to play now, but I will play it at some point before I
need a drought. We need a good drought. That's what we need.
Hey, I'm an Xbox fan. I'm used to it.
It's true. That's true. Actually, you can do some rain.
Just stab myself in the arm. What am I doing? So yeah, should I say my number 3 then?
Let's go into it. Big 3. Here we go.
Okay, so you know earlier I said that there was no games from the same franchise apart from one, which had 2 games from the same franchise. And I was going to explain to you why this is the case and why it's fair. So my number 5 is Super Mario Bros. 3. My number 3 is Super Mario 64, the first 3D Mario game. As you were saying earlier, you prefer the 3D to the 2D. I kind of agree. Super Mario 64, as much as people slagging off now, it is still infinitely replayable. I don't care. I still play it. Like, I recently, about 2 years ago, it was the first time ever I managed to get all 120 stars. I go on back to play it, and I still holds up. To this day, it holds up. It was the first proper 3D platformer, and it still holds up to this day. And it blows my mind that that's the case. It's still an amazing game. It still holds up. It's like, I don't know what else I could say about it. Again, I got so much nostalgia for it. It was the only game I had on my N64 for years because the games are so bloody expensive. So I literally just lived off Super Mario 64. Just spent hours and hours playing that game, just exploring the maps, you know. And it's just like, oh, I adore it. I adore Mario 64 so much. And the ability to fly and the visibility of the metal suit and all that. Oh, I love Mario 64. Such a good game. Odyssey and Galaxy are great too, and 3D World. But I think this is my favourite Mario game of all time, 64. But Mario Bros. 3 is sometimes better. That's what I'm saying. It's sometimes swapped. But at the moment, it's 64. For sure.
Yeah.
I adore it.
It's a great choice. And to be fair, as I said, I was never a Nintendo guy, right? Yeah. Ever. And so when they had the collection come out with Sunshine, or Galaxy, and 64, that was my first time that I ever put proper time into 64. Like, I'd played bits and bobs, I played it on emulators and stuff like that, but never really seen it through. Yeah. And when I first started it, I thought, God damn, this game controls horribly. Yeah. I don't get why everyone loves this and says it holds up. And then when you play it and you realize that actually there's a lot of skill to this movement, there's a lot of skill. And as soon as you learn it, the game becomes fluid as hell.
Yeah,
and it's so much fun.
Super jumps, back flips, triple jumps, reverse back jump. Like, you learn all the different types of jumping styles, and it's just it's a masterpiece. I love it so much.
It is. Great choice.
And the only game that can justify the N64's horrible controller, the free prong, is the only.
It can't.
It's the only game that works well with that controller.
Oh no! I'm telling you, nothing justifies that controller. That controller is an abomination. It's the worst controller I think ever made. I hate it. I hate it so much. And yeah, even 64 can't save that goddamn piece of shit controller.
Yeah, man.
I mean, terrible.
Thank God for Mario 64 in Ocarina of Time, or I literally would have probably been a PlayStation guy like you and jumped over to the PS1. I'm not going to be honest. The N64 had problems, but I enjoyed it still. I have a PS1, by the way, myself.
What a different life you would have led if you'd come over. If you'd come over at that point, if they hadn't got you. You know, can you imagine how differently your life would have turned out?
Yeah.
You know, you'd be sitting here talking about how good, Last of Us 2 is.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it now because you've got 3 left. I know two of your top 3, I think. So I'm really curious how this is all going to play out.
Speaking of Last of Us 2, comes in at my number 3 spot. So this was a tough call. This is a really tough call for me because The Last of Us 1 is incredible. Yeah. It's amazing. The reason why I've gone for Last of Us 2
is to piss me off.
Slightly. But it's the difference between like Last of Us 1 and 2 is like 0.5% difference at that, right? In terms of which I prefer. And because I've gone for my rule that I can only include one from the franchise, that's why I don't have them, either tied or right next to each other. But the reason I've gone for number 2 is 2 parts. The gameplay in 2 is much better than the first, 100%.
Yeah, I agree.
No
with
question about it.
You can lay down, which you should have been able to do in the remakes, which I don't understand.
You could do so much in the environment. There's so much style that you can do. You can play it so well. Getting pulled off the crafting bench when you go on there is like insane. Just never saw that coming.
Yeah, I was like, oh, jumped out my skin when that happened. I remember that. Oh my god,
so good. The fight with the Rat King underneath in the hospital, immense.
I don't know. I felt that was a bit jumping the shark for me. The Rat King. I wasn't a huge fan of that, honestly.
I ate all that up.
Oh, fair enough. You're a Resident Evil fan. You love that kind of stuff, so that's fair.
I do.
I get that.
I do. The reason why 2 hit so much for me is because it was a game that just got me on a real emotional level from the off. From the moment that Joel is sitting there talking to Tommy and explaining about the trip, I cried when they went on horseback and they go over the top and the game starts. I cried at that point, and I thought, "Fuck, it's got me!" Like immediately, it's got me. And then obviously with what happens with Abby and Joel, pure hatred and rage. And then as the game goes on, and you get to the finale, and you get all the moments that Ellie does to these characters for revenge, which I was totally on board for the entire way. And you get to the end, and you see the state that Abby's in, and how far you've gone, and how far past the point of normal behavior you've gone to in the act of revenge, and it worked. And the somber ending really got me. I was along for the entire journey. And I can see why people don't like Abby. I can definitely see it because of the attachment with Joel. But for me, I always viewed the world of The Last of Us as that no one is good.
That's fair.
No one is above saving. No one is perfect or anything like that. Everyone is bad. And in that case, I can see it from Abby's perspective. And as much as I got an attachment to Joel, as much as I love him as a character, and the flashback moments we're going through, when you're going through the space moment and all that stuff, I loved her as a character as well. And so that's why it worked so well for me. But I can definitely see it from your perspective, Lewis, and why it can be so divisive. And it'd be interesting now when we get to season 2 of the TV show to see that all kick off again.
Yeah, that's why I haven't watched the TV show, because I know what happens in season 2. What's going to happen in season 2, so I'm avoiding watching season 1 of the TV show. Oh, yeah, I don't know. I get why you
can't get on board with
get why you like it. I just don't. Honestly, I just find it a bit.
Fair.
I just find it really depressing, and I don't like Abby. And I've tried to like Abby, but I just don't. And I feel like the best dynamic of characters was Ellie and Joel. I feel like they had the best chemistry between the two of them, and you only get to see it, 3 times in the game. Ellie's girlfriend, I don't really think she's got that much of a good personality. Abby is fucking her best friend's boyfriend, and she's also pregnant. It's like, that's kind of fucked up, even though she's a stupid bitch because she's like 9 months pregnant and wants to go around and get shot at. It's like, why won't you let me come out and get shot at? It's like, because you're 9 months fucking pregnant, you stupid bitch. You got giant belly like this. What do you mean? What? Anyway, yeah, the characters annoyed me. I'm sorry. Abby, the Abby side of the story annoyed me. Or most of the characters on that side of the story annoyed me, to be honest. Like her boyfriend and the woman who was pregnant, who I can't remember the name of.
I was on board for all that. The only downside of the game for me is when you go to Santa Barbara, and at that point I was ready for the game to end.
Yes,
it was long. It was. That's the only thing about it. Is that even though it's chock full of amazing moments, it does outstay its welcome a little bit. And I earned the platinum. I loved it. For me, the emotional resonance I had from it was much more than I've had from pretty much any game on this list. To the point where I was just chock full of emotion throughout the entire playthrough, and that's why I rank it up there. And the gameplay being so goddamn good. But it does outstay its welcome.
Yeah, I was going to say, so I love the beginning of The Last of Us 2. I think I love it all the way up to the big switch, the big twist, the big swap over. And then as soon as that happened, I didn't really like anything past that point. So I like the first half of the game. I think the first half of the game is brilliant, fantastic. And I was almost ready for it to end there. If it ended there, I know it would be a bit short, but I'd be like, yeah, it was good. But I just didn't like any of the other characters. I didn't like the Abby side of the story, I mean, honestly. And I didn't like the Santa Barbara stuff, as you said. I felt that, what was the point of the Santa Barbara stuff? It just felt like it just dragged on a bit. And it's like, also, Abby, and Ellie it felt like it was all resolved, and then it just went, oh, let's go back and do it again. Let's just keep going. Like, no, just stay on the farm. What the hell are you doing?
story of revenge, which can't
Oh.
let it go.
Oh, can't let it go. Much like
No.
the
Same
same
way that you feel this hatred that you can't let go of is
you're doing the same thing. You're
It's
doing
true.
the same thing. It's repeating itself.
People keep bringing it up,
But-
and I have to keep. It's like I try and get away from Last of Us 2, and people keep bringing it up. And also, it
But-
annoys me that Tsushima didn't get Game of the Year that year. I thought they should, or Animal Crossing. I
Oh,
thought they
that's
should have
great
both done it. But there you go. It's one of my personal opinion. Because also that was the other thing is Last of Us 2 came out during COVID, or like just before COVID, and it was like
Yeah, maybe just before.
yeah, and it was just like it's so depressing. And it's like I need something like Animal Crossing where I can just chill with my friends and bloody talk to raccoons and make my own little house and all that shit.
Get
Like
your bells.
something happy. I just need I need the happy stuff. I don't need to see the most depressing game I've ever ever played. I'm sorry, I don't. It's the worst time.
It is
But I
depressing
get
stuff.
why people like it, and I got a platinum for it, so I have beaten it twice.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, but I felt like the second time I played it, the first time I played it, I felt like I enjoyed it, and I had like rose tinted glasses, and I felt the second time I could see all the flaws and why I didn't like certain. I was like, actually, that character sucks. Actually, this character sucks. Actually, this part of the plot makes no sense. And then just if you just add it up when I went through the second playthrough, and I got the achievement halfway through the Santa Barbara thing. So I didn't actually finish my second playthrough. I got halfway through Santa Barbara. I got the platinum popped, and I'm like, well, I'm done, and installed. Just I didn't want to. I couldn't be bothered doing the whole Santa Barbara again. It was so annoying.
Yeah, there's some great fights in Santa Barbara, and I think it's great, but I think they probably could have cut a good hour, maybe
Yeah.
two, from the game, and I don't
Agreed.
think it would have lost anything. But I mean, Christ, to get to my top three is a big deal.
I get it.
And so
And if you like it,
for
that's fair.
me,
I get why you
do.
you love it, and it's
We'll agree
probably
to disagree on it.
it's probably the most divisive game ever made. I would say. I think a lot of people.
Up there.
I think a lot of people are like us that you either love it or hate it. It's very Marmite when it comes to video games, and
Yeah.
we both said to be on the different sides of the coin for this one, so that's fair. And it makes it a more interesting discussion if we both were saying how much we loved it and we were just like, yeah, then it probably would be a lot more of a boring conversation. So yeah, should I move on to my number two?
Please.
My number two. So earlier on in the conversation you were talking about how Call of Duty was your favorite shooter ever, and it had all these memories of you, and you played it for hours with your friends, and it was like the best shooter you've ever played. For me, that is Halo 3, and that is my favorite first-person shooter of all time, and my number two. I absolutely,
Number three.
I love Halo 3. I absolutely adore it. It was the first game I really got into online shooters. It was like the Xbox Live game. I loved custom maps and custom modes and Forge, and like it was the last proper first-person shooter to come out that didn't have microtransactions, and it was just like you leveled up to get I always use this as an example. You see someone with a samurai outfit, and you're like, damn, that guy must be a badass because he must have done this, this, and this, and passed all these challenges. He must be a really cool character. Now you play like Fortnite or whatever. It's like, oh man, that guy's Captain America. He must have spent £10 on that character skin. Good for him.
Yeah.
Whereas like when you actually
Yeah.
see someone in a cool outfit in Halo 3, you're like, damn, that person must be a badass because they actually earned that outfit by playing the game and being good at the game. And I used to appreciate the shit out of that. I love the maps. I love the story as well of the single player / co-op, like, the story. I absolutely adore the story of Halo 3. I mean, I love Halo 1. I love all the Bungie Halo games a lot, and that's the reason I'm on an Xbox podcast. That's why I'm an Xbox fan, and that's the reason I bought an Xbox. And that's why I'm is because of Halo. I love Halo. I've played shit ton of Halo Infinite, even though it's not that good. I still adore it, and Halo 3 is my favorite of all time. And I think it is the perfect first-person shooter, and I don't think any game will ever be better than it. Personally, I think it is perfect as a first-person shooter, in my personal opinion. I wanted to actually make a video essay about it being the perfect first-person shooter and see how many people got pissed off, but my personal opinion, it is flawless.
I think you probably get a lot of people agreeing with you, to be honest, because
I mean, Halo 3 is an absolutely
amazing game. At the time, I've never owned an Xbox ever, but I've played a lot of them, and so back in the day, I used to play shed loads of LAN on Halo 1. When Halo 2 came out, and I got my first taste of what
Halo
online
2's
gaming
great
could
too.
be.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it was insane. And all my mates had Xboxes, and we'd all play Halo 2. And I used to go around to my one mate's house. He'd have a gathering every 2 weeks, and there would be about like 15 Xbox 360s, and
sick.
everyone played Halo 2 or Halo 3. And it was just amazing, and I adored it. And all I wished was, oh god, I wish we had something like this on PlayStation. I wish we had something. And I had to wait all the way until Resistance 2 to get even a taste of it, and it's not even remotely on the same level as Halo.
Man.
And yeah, great experience. Co-op campaign, absolutely phenomenal on that original trilogy. Everything about it is just
and
a masterpiece of gaming.
And I've never been more hyped for a game in my entire life. That was like the game that I was like counting down the days and the hours and the minutes till that game came out. I was just like, oh, I need this game now. I can watch every trailer, watch everything. I was like the most obsessed about any game I've ever been with that. And I remember getting it in the midnight launch and all that. And it just, yeah, so many fond memories. I remember I took the day off college, beat the entire campaign in one day. And then like goes, oh, what'd you do yesterday? Oh, I just beat Halo 3 in one day, one sitting, like because I was obsessed. Oh man, it's such a good game. Like the final level where you're in the Warhawk and you're going over in the exploded Halo ring, and like you got Arbiter and you just got so many classic lines and just like, oh yes, I love it. I love Halo 3. I adore it.
Don't make them like
much.
that anymore, mate. I wish they did. I wish they did.
They haven't made anything anywhere near as good as that for 343, and it really makes me sad. Bungie they did such a good job, and it makes me sad. It does make me really sad that like that series has peaked, and it'll probably never be that good ever again, and that bums me out. I'm sad now.
Here's hoping that maybe they'll do it for the next Halo. You know, you've probably got like another 4 years to go, but who knows?
Infinite's
maybe
fun
they'll
to
pull
play.
out of the bag.
Infinite is fun to play, but you know, nothing beats Halo 3, and like obviously I'm nostalgic for that, and it was my teenage years, and that was like the game that really got me into Xbox. So, Halo.
Great choice. Well, my number 2 is a game that you said about not including games that were that recent.
Ooh.
But every now and again, you get a game that comes out that just shocks you to your core. A game which you expect to be amazing, that you book the day off work for, and you come away from it having a whole appreciation on what a sequel can do. And for me, it's God of War Ragnarok.
I knew it.
I have been a God of War fan since the very first God of War. And to see a story come to a point in God of War Ragnarok where it's built on everything that's come before, it pays homage to the entire history of Kratos and the adventures you've gone through all the way back from the PS2. To have that alongside combat, which has been built up to a point where you're basically playing a Dark Souls game with huge amounts of customization and different ways that you can flex, and it all be skill based, and it all be just really good. It's a game which is perfect.
Wow.
In my eyes, I've got no flaws with this game at all. Literally none. I cannot think of a single one. It's incredible. The story is phenomenal, gameplay phenomenal, and all the side objectives are really fun to do as well.
Fair. Wow.
Absolutely adore it. And easily the high point of the God of War franchise by a country mile. And it would take something really special to beat it on PS5 this gen. I honestly cannot see what we could have that would beat it.
Spider-Man 2. No,
I don't know. I mean, I love Spider-Man as much as the next guy, but it would have to do something.
I mean,
remarkable.
I have God of War Ragnarok, and I've got to admit I haven't got that far into it. I need to go back and play more.
It's time, though. It's time. That's the issue. It's not quick.
No,
it's not a quick experience.
And also it's like I felt like I just finished God of War 2018, and it felt like, oh, this is kind of more of the same at the beginning, at least. I know you said it gets better or it changes, but it did feel like I just played this, and then it kind of put me off a bit. I need to go back again. God of War Ragnarok. I'll cross
Add it
everything
onto
else
the
out.
list.
Just put that.
You got to add it on the list. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of those things that as soon as you get your weapons, your different weapon types, and it's how you use them together. Whereas in the first game, in 2018, it was a case of you had your axe or you had your Blaze of Chaos, and depending on the enemy you were facing, you need to use one or the other. In this, it's a case of using all your weapons in tandem, and the way that you cycle through that with each unique ability that your weapons can have that you choose will determine how you go about victory. And for me, I played it on hard, and it was perfect because it was difficult, it was challenging. And it gave me that Dark Souls level experience. But I know that for those that don't want that, they play on normal, they come away with kind of similar thoughts to myself. Yeah. So I think you can go into the experience at whatever difficulty you want, and you can find enjoyment on it. But the start is definitely more of a case of like a kind of tutorial, getting you back into the swing of things. As soon as it starts opening up, as soon as you get past that first dwarven world, it's on.
Yeah.
And from that point, it don't stop, and the story just goes, and you think, oh, I can't get any hyper than this, and the music kicks in.
Yeah, I think I'm in the dwarven world now. I mean, that's how far I've got.
That, it will start opening up. Yeah, and yeah, it's there's just moments in that game which just like make your entire body just like every hair stand on edge, and you just don't get that very often in gaming, where it just gets you,
Yeah.
I
mean,
easy one number 2.
You were saying about recent games. I did say Elden Ring's on my list, and they both came out last year. What a fantastic year for gaming! Those two came out.
Amazing
year. Amazing.
Yeah, amazing.
I need to go back and play it. I know it's supposed to be amazing. I need to go back and play it some more. Yeah, I have a rule when it comes to video games though. If they kill a dog off, it gets a 0 out of 10, and the fact they kill a wolf off right at the beginning of the game really annoyed me. It's like, how dare you? How dare you kill a wolf?
I don't want to spoil it.
Okay.
But
he's not. But okay.
The wolf's fine.
Okay.
Fine.
I think I kind of I'm far enough in that I kind of gather where I think I think I get where that's going, actually, to be fair. Because I'm far enough in to understand what, but I'm not going to spoil it for people. Let's just say that. No. Yeah. Okay, fair. I need to play more. I said I got to the dwarf place, everyone just ran away from this. I was like, "Why is everyone so rude?" Ha ha ha. And then I didn't really. And I was like, "Okay, cool." And I was just I got distracted by other things then, so I need to go back and play it for sure. For sure, top of my list, and I know what your number 1 is now. Then I'm going to get to that in a minute, though.
Yes,
you know what my number 1 is as well.
I certainly do.
My number 1 is The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. Me and the critics, which is like synergy. Like me and the critics get along so well. Bezies, Saying that, I think Tears of the Kingdom's better, I'm always going to say Tears of the Kingdom's a better game. Fuck. It's really difficult. That's why I'm like, I can't put it as my number 1. Surely I'm in the middle of playing it. I could, but I'm not going to.
How many hours in are you on Tears of the Kingdom?
About 20, 30 hours, I'd say.
That's long enough to know.
Oh man, I know it's better. It's such a good game. Oh, so good. Anyway, I'm not talking about Tears of the Kingdom. I'm talking about Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild. Okay. When I say the most hyped game ever was Halo 3, I mean, probably second would be Breath of the Wild. The fact that when I got the trailer for it, for the Switch, and it's like, oh, the Nintendo Switch just looks amazing. And it's like, it kind of ties into the Nintendo Switch as a console. Like, it still blows my mind that I could play a game that looks as beautiful as Breath of the Wild on a handheld or on the TV. And I took it to work with me, and I was just playing it in the office out of my lunch. Like, everyone just like, what the hell are you doing? It's like, playing Zelda. What do you mean, what am I doing? I'm playing the greatest game ever. I've completed it like 5 or 6 times. I absolutely adore it. It's like, I love the open-ended world design. I love how massive the world is, which is hilarious because it's now Tears of the Kingdom's like 2.5 times bigger than it. But it's like a massive open world, and just exploring and all the puzzles and all the mechanics and the characters and just everything about it. I absolutely adore it, and it's just beautiful. And it's like, it's weird to be nostalgic for a game that's only 6 years old, but I am seriously nostalgic for Breath of the Wild already, and it's crazy. Like going back to Tears of the Kingdom, it's like, oh man, this takes me back. This takes me back to play Breath of the Wild for the first time. It's so weird, but it's just like, yeah, I think it ties into the fact that the Nintendo Switch was such a mind-blowing console, and the Wii U was just a piece of shit. Even though I enjoyed the Wii U, it was an awful console, and I'm getting this brand new Switch, which is like the best system I've ever played on. It's like, this is incredible, and having Zelda on it and just playing it for days, and oh, I love it. Just going on trips and playing it on the coaches or on a plane and all that, and just like losing myself in the world. Just it's the best open world ever, and I just adore it. The only other open world that comes close to it, in my opinion, is Elden Ring, and that's why it's my number 7, and it's also in my top 10. Yeah, so I love it. I can't say any more than that. I just think it's fantastic. And yeah, I know you're not a fan, so
no, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan at all. As I said before, it's a great game. It just ain't for me, and I'm in the minority on this one. This is definitely one where I'm the outlier. I know that it's renowned as being one of the best games of all time. It just doesn't work for me that well. I just didn't really enjoy it. But as I said, I am looking forward. I go on holiday in a couple of weeks, and I'm not taking the Vita with me. I'm taking the Switch. So it's going to be Tears of the Kingdom O'Clock. So if I haven't played it by then, which will be wild if I haven't, that is when it's going to get slapped. So I cannot wait to get into it. I'm really looking forward to it. Oh, I'm sure I will. I'm sure I will.
Oh, that's so
but great. Good choice, though, for number 1. As you said, you and the critics, what I didn't realise is that you'd obviously slip GQ a couple of quid.
Yeah.
Subscribe to make sure you put it as number 1.
Yeah, never even heard
50 votes. It's 50 quid.
Never even heard of him.
Back end.
I never even heard of him before this top 100, but I agree with him 100%.
They're bang on.
They're perfect. The best company ever.
Best magazine I've ever read in my life.
10 out of 10. No, brilliant. No, I adore it, and yeah, I couldn't say any more than that, really. I think I've pretty much covered it. The best open world game, apart from maybe Elden Ring, but I prefer it to Elden Ring. But I love Elden Ring. I love both. Can I just have both? I know, as I said, my top 6 is interchangeable. I literally, any time I could, like Halo 3, I used to say was my favorite game of all time, and I used to say Pokemon Red was my favorite game of all time, and Super Mario Bros. 3 is my favorite game of all time. But recently, when we did, so at the end of the 2020, or the beginning of 2020, I did my game of the decade, and I basically picked my favorite games of each year of the 2010s. And then Breath of the Wild won my game of the decade. And then ever since then, I'm like, yeah, this game is fantastic. This is my favorite game ever. Like, ever since that point, it was like my favorite game of the 2010s. And then now I'm like, yeah, it's probably my favorite game of all time. It's like, it's, yeah. So, because I like my retro games, but as for modern games, I say Tears of the Kingdom is my favorite game of all time now, probably, but I'm not putting it in the list. Officially, it's Breath of the Wild. But it's probably Tears of the Kingdom. But I'll come back to you in a year's time. We'll when there's another top 100, I'll update the list.
Fair.
Yeah, and also if I'm following my rules, only one game per franchise, I guess that would bump Breath of the Wild completely out of the top 10, then, wouldn't it? I mean, that's
it would do. It would do, yeah. Yeah, it would do, yeah.
Ooh,
if you're following your rules. Otherwise, you break your rules.
I might break my
Depends
rules.
on how important your rules are for you.
I might break the rules. Screw it. Number 1 and 2, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Screw it. Now, I know what your number 1 is, and we've already discussed it a load.
We certainly have.
But I would love you to introduce it and hype it up. Go ahead.
Sure.
What is your number 1?
My number 1 is Metal Gear Solid for the PlayStation 1. As me and Lewis have already hyped up on this, this is the game that sold me on what gaming could be. It's a game that up until this point I've been playing, Spyro, I've been playing Croc, I've been playing all these different games,
Sonic.
Resident Evil, Sonic, and then you realize that holy hell, gaming as a medium can tell a really emotional story that grabs you on every level. And with Hideo Kojima's design, built into every single facet where it breaks the fourth wall all over the place, speaks to the player, throws out little bits and little tangents. Just the ability to be able to call up Mei Ling, and she gives you a random Chinese proverb every single time. And then if you call her multiple times and choose not to save, she even just refuses flat out to save your game because you've annoyed her so much. It's all these little details that are just peppered throughout the entire experience. It's a gaming revolution. And to me, it's just an experience that I don't think will ever be beaten. I don't think no matter what comes out, no matter how good it is, I don't think it will ever be as good as Metal Gear Solid for me. I just don't think anything can ever beat it. And it's taken a long time to get to that point for me. And it wasn't until I played it for a spoiler cast from the past that we did on MPS We Trust about a year ago. And it's the first time I've gone back to that game in a long time.
Yeah.
And I realized that it is still just perfect today. And it was just one of those moments where you think in your mind, you doubt yourself and you think, oh, is nostalgia playing a huge part of this? And going back and just realizing, no, it's actually just perfect. It's everything I want from gaming in one handy 3-disc package or 2-disc package. And I mean, Christ, what more can you want? What more can we say about this game? It's perfect in my eyes.
I
adore it.
I don't blame you one bit. It is such an amazing game. And yeah, that's why it's in my top 10 as well. I absolutely adore it. As I said, kick Spencer out of the podcast because he said it was a 6 out of 10. And we'll just change PS We Trust to just make it a Metal Gear Solid podcast. That's what we're just going to do.
Yes, please.
Yeah, Hideo Kojima
yes, please.
podcast.
Yes, please.
The best 6 out of 10 ever made. That's what we should.
We can make at least 3 episodes a show, at least about each individual boss, I think.
Yeah,
and then
definitely.
We can break it down to the areas. We can talk about how you can get into a cardboard box to go from one place to the next as a way to save time on backtracks. Talk about how did you use the fags or did you use the night vision goggles to get past the lasers? Yeah. You know, all these different things. As an episode ago,
definitely.
We can talk about that.
Definitely,
you know, that can run. Yeah,
for sure. I
100%.
love Metal Gear Solid 1 is just a masterpiece of a game. It's one of the best games ever made. I could totally agree with everything you're saying. Yeah, I'm surprised it was your number 1, but I'm happy with it. I think that's a very good number 1 for sure. Did you say you said your top 3 were interchangeable? Did you say, or your top?
No, so top 1 will never change.
You'll always
top
be Metal
1,
Gear.
Always be Metal Gear Solid. That's the only thing I know for certain is that's my number 1.
Fair.
From there, my top 2, 3, 4, and 5 could change on a dime.
Fair.
FF7 could go straight into number 2 on any given day. So could Last of Us, Bioshock, any of them. Yeah. But, as I said, I put a rule on this that I wouldn't include from the same franchise.
Fair.
Otherwise, MGS2 would probably be out there for number 2.
And 3.
I love
and
MGS2.
4, and 5.
Yeah,
and both
yeah.
and Death Stranding. And why not everything?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly
And
right.
PT.
So I had to put some rules on it, otherwise it'd just be ridiculous. So it is what it is.
I'm pretty sure if we did this with Phil, he would probably have Metal Gear Solid and Death Stranding on all of his slots somehow.
It'd be hard.
He'd be like the director's cut, the remix, the original.
It'd have. I think RE2 is his favorite game of all time.
Oh, fair enough. Fair,
so I think that would. I think so. Either that or Death Stranding. One of those two is his favorite. I think.
Because when we had Phil on the podcast, we did our best PlayStation games, and he mentioned basically Hideo Kojima just kept coming up, which is hilarious, just constantly. I said, I'm surprised you did. I'm surprised you didn't pick Death Stranding remastered as your PS5 game. I can't remember what he picked as his PS5 game now, but it's just like
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure he put it up for Game of the Year.
He did, yeah. I remember that Game of the Year.
I'm pretty
video.
sure he did. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did. So anything's on the table. I mean, that's the thing about in PS We Trust is basically it's a 2-on-1 for Hideo Kojima love. Yeah, basically, fair. We're just Spence just doesn't get it, and the rest of us, would let him walk all over us. Yeah. If he came up to me and he said, "Davey, I need your firstborn. I'm going to take your firstborn away, but I'll give you a 1-to-1 remake of MGS1, just in better graphics. But how long do you need him for? And he'd be like, life. Take him. He's done. He's done.
Wow.
MGS1 is life. MGS1 is life.
And then obviously with you and Spencer both like Souls games, and Phil doesn't really get them, or he's not really good. So you have a nice dynamic where you all like different things.
Yeah,
Just, it's good.
A good little dynamic.
Yeah.
Spice it up.
But yeah, Metal Gear Solid 1.
Great list, though, Lewis.
Yeah. Me and the critics agree that Zelda is the best game ever made. But I agree with you. The Metal Gear Solid is absolutely fantastic and deserves all the praise it is. And I think even though we're a 3-hour podcast, we could probably talk for another hour about Metal Gear Solid. Quite happily. This is the longest podcast in Xbox the Box history. There's our crossover episode, which is I appreciate that. The PS3 Trust Xbox the Box crossover extravaganza.
We're rubbing off on you too much, see.
Yeah.
You know, this kind of time is like a normal episode for us. So we're running, you know, I'm accidentally rubbing off on you too much. So
don't do that.
Thank you for having me though. It's been an absolute pleasure to be on. Thank you for having me.
Such fun. I really appreciate it. And then let our viewers know about your channel and plug your shit.
Sure. Yeah, sure. So I mentioned it a few times across here, but I'm one of 3 hosts for a PlayStation podcast called In PS We Trust. It is currently the 4th or 5th biggest PlayStation podcast on the internet, I believe. We never really know where we are. We should probably keep more eyes on our stats. But you can find us. We've got new episodes every 2 weeks on all podcast services and on YouTube. But if you wanted to get your survival horror fix, then you could also follow my personal YouTube channel, SSJDavey, where I review games. So I'm currently working through the Dead Space series, but I've already done every single Resident Evil game, including the games that nobody should ever have to play in their entire life. So I've done all the terrible ones. Oh God, this
doing us all a service. Thank you for your hard work.
Oh, thank you ever so much. But yeah, so if you do want your survival horror fix, come on over, check it out, and hopefully you'll enjoy it.
Damn straight. I really enjoy your channel. Thank you for coming on. Really appreciate it. Hopefully Alice will be back next week. So if you were missing Alice, I apologize. It is a 45-minute video of Alice talking about Ruby. If you guys listening to Alice, I don't like Ruby, so I just let her do her thing with that. I was like, no, you go ahead. I'll talk about other things. But yeah, Alice should be back next week. But I really appreciate you stepping in and really helping me out here, Davey. I really appreciate it, and you're welcome back anytime. We'll try and get some more PlayStation synergy cross. If there's more like PlayStation type topics, or crossover topics, I'll definitely get you on again for sure.
Well, I'm sure it's only going to be a matter of time until we have you back on in PS We Trust. With the conferences coming up soon and the supposed PlayStation conference, quite good to do a comparison. So you never know. Okay. Who knows? Who knows? We'll see who actually has something to show. That'd be quite nice.
Thank you guys for watching. We really appreciate it. If you're still watching, if you are still here, thank you for putting up for 3 hours of me talking complete nonsense, and also Davey is listening to Davey as well. So I really appreciate that. Too. Really appreciate it. I really enjoyed this podcast. I had a lot of fun. One of my favorites, I think. And it's the longest podcast ever. Record breaking.
Whee!
Thank you guys for watching. And until next time, too sweet. That is, guys. Bye-bye.
Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye. And thank you for listening to the X Marks the Box podcast. Follow us at X Marks Box on Twitter or X Marks the Box on YouTube, and follow us on all audio podcast services. Thanks for listening.